Good morning, everyone. My name is Nadzrin, and welcome to our session. This is workforce performance skills. And what are workforce performance skills? Because I hear that a lot of us are academics in the room, so I shall assume that you have a pen and paper standing by, because you would expect that of your students. I expect that of you as well. Bak kata guru saya, my teacher says, datang ke majlis ilmu tidak bawa pen dengan kertas, ibarat melepaskan peluang begitu saja. So, everything I'm going to share with you today will not be 100% on the slides. Why? Because the slides act as a guide. Everything I share with you will be required for you. One of two things. Number one is I will share with you verbally. Number two, you ask me questions, and whatever I can answer, I will answer on the spot. Whatever I cannot answer, I have teachers, I have colleagues, I have friends who will be able to give you that answer. And if, for example, we have your email addresses, right, I can send those answers back after the session. However, I don't like to do that. I want to be able to answer as much as possible. However, not everybody knows everything, so I will be tailoring this to your needs as much as possible. The only way to do that is for you to ask me questions, and ask me really challenging questions. I love those. If you ask me the simple questions also, I like, yeah, but give me the challenging questions, because one, that helps me grow. Number two, helps me learn as well. All right. So first off, I want to prove that you're there. I want to see that you are alive and sitting in front of the laptop. Please tell me in the text chat that you are ready to go by typing in the word ready. Here we go. Let's see how many people type in the word ready. Okay, I'm looking for the chat, and I just realized I cannot see the chat while this is full screen. So I'm going to stop there for a while. Omo, has anybody typed anything yet?
Many of them have typed in ready.
So where is the chat on this thing?
Okay. Do you see on your top
I do.
bar? There's a show participant and hide conversation. Conversation.
Interesting. I don't see conversations.
All right.
I don't see a
Maybe if
word.
you click your screen at the bottom, maybe.
Okay, let's see at the bottom. Nothing's at the bottom.
Click your screen.
Click my screen.
Yeah. Do you have like leave button somewhere?
It's right at the top. The leave button is right at the top.
Okay. So it's parallel to that leave button.
Okay, I see share content. I see microphone. I see camera.
All right.
I see more actions.
More
I see
action.
raise hand, and I
All
see
right.
show participants. But that's it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay, that's interesting. So it means I will need your help to read out any comments, any questions, or
Yeah, sure.
even better, you guys cannot type into the text chat because I will not be able to read it. So you will have to turn on your mics to ask me. All right.
That's
So
better, I think.
how
Sorry,
many
sorry, Cik Nazrin, sorry. Just quick
Yes,
question. Did
go
you
ahead.
download this Microsoft Teams inside your laptop?
I did, yes. I've
Oh,
been using it
because
with my work. So it's
oh,
interesting
okay.
that today I cannot see the chat.
Yeah,
Padahal
that's
biasa
why.
nampak.
Dia nervous tu biasa. Okay.
No, I'm not nervous. I'm confused. So,
I'm
but
confused.
I do work with my team in Cambodia,
Yeah.
and we use MS Teams. Cuma
Uh-huh.
hari ni tak jumpa the chat.
Tak apalah, kan ada rezeki maksudnya. Right, nervous.
Okay, so irrespective of that, we're talking about a topic that's relevant, which is strategic thinking. And one of the things about strategic thinking is whatever happens, jalan saja. Whatever you do, if you have a high level plan and something like this happens, you expected a chat to be there, but it's not there. So what do? You sit still and go, oh, tak ada chat, macam nak buat ni. So the ability to think strategically is also the ability to adapt very, very fast. And Umo is going to help me out today by finding any critical questions in there. But I would prefer that you turn on your microphone to ask. Okay, first off, let's get this out of the way. What are the elements of strategy? My late grandfather was an amazing man, and I loved him so much. He was born in Malacca, but he grew up in Singapore, worked in Singapore. He was what he used to call himself an engineer, but then he worked for television in Singapore. So back then, if you were working for television, you were an engineer. And he got his training from some of the big Indian directors. You know, back then, if you were a film producer or film director in Malaysia or Singapore, the training you got was from India, and that was where the best movie directors were. Well, I guess until today. So he taught me one thing. He had this ability to see into the future. I mean not literally. He had the ability to see what trends were going to happen, things that were coming up very, very soon. And that puzzled me, that confused me a lot, because I thought, how is it that he can tell when things are coming in the future? And you know that old adage, if you don't learn the past, you are doomed to repeat the future. Basically, that if you don't know, if you don't learn from what has come before, then it is going to be impossible for you to prepare for what's coming soon. And we can see that many, many times. If you look at Japan, right? Japan has been hit by the tsunami so many times that they are very, very prepared. They are very prepared for any kinds of tsunami. But even then, remember the Fukushima incident? Even then, there are some things that they cannot predict. So what does that mean? It means that you can have a very high level strategy, you can have a fantastic plan, but something will almost always go wrong. So when we talk about strategic planning, we also accept the fact there's something called Murphy's Law. It's actually a bit of a joke law, but it's used a lot to explain that the adage is, if something can go wrong, it will. If something can go wrong, it will. And a lot of safety people, safety officers, people in risk management, they pay very close attention to this. So if you are for example, a parent, right, a parent, and you have the ability to not only see into the future, but you can see in the present. Um, before I became a parent, I didn't understand this, but after I became a parent, I have 5 kids now. Every single edge in the house is an accident waiting to happen, isn't it? So you see it and you go, "Alamak." So I need to child-proof this. So if you are a safety officer, and I don't know if you know what a safety officer is, but these are the people who do a lot of work in industry, in factories, in oil and gas, to make sure that there's less accidents, if not zero accidents. They know it's impossible to get zero accidents, but they strive for it nonetheless. I have a friend who's a safety officer. I tak nak ajak dia datang rumah. I will not ask him to come home, because when he comes to my house, he will see everything in my house. That's like, okay, this one is wrong, that one is wrong. Okay, this is a fire hazard. That one will trip up people and things like that. So there are people on this planet who can see into the future, and the only people who can see into the future are the people who have a lot of experience in the past. And this is how my grandfather lived. This is how he managed to see into the future, or what he called foresight. So I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you came here to learn about strategic thinking, the first thing you need to do, the first thing you need to have is a lot of information about the past. I can give you many fantastic theories, many amazing models and frameworks, but the one key ingredient is that you must know the past. So one of two things. Number one, either you are a subject matter expert, right? A subject matter expert, that means you're a domain expert. Or number two, you have a lot of exposure to the world. So what do I mean by exposure? Exposure means domain subject matter expert means you have deep insight, deep expertise into one area. And a lot of exposure means that you have general knowledge about the things around you, the world around you. And in 2006, I believe it's 2006, as every year I repeat this story, I keep asking myself, did I get the year right? Because as I get older, facts start to change. But I still believe it's 2006. In a Newsweek article, they did a survey among CEOs across America and Europe, I believe, but I think America is more correct. So they did a survey, and they asked these CEOs share with us your habits. Yeah, share with us your habits, share with us your routine, share with us what makes you successful. And a lot of the CEOs, they scored high on what they call vertical and horizontal knowledge. I believe you know what this is. Later on, they call it T knowledge, right? And T knowledge means that you have deep domain expertise in one area and you have wide exposure in other areas. And one example, one interesting example, remember this is 2006 and this is not 2020. One CEO gave the example of he loves to know about things outside of his subject matter expertise. So he's an engineer and he's a CEO of an engineering firm. And he's led the company for many years. In fact, he also says that what I know about engineering is now not as updated as before. My engineers know better than me, but I can lead them because I've been on many projects. So he says that he has a standing order for his news vendor, right? So in New York, they have news vendors that sell newspapers and magazines sitting in the middle of the sidewalk. Over here, we have mynews.com. We don't have as much of those anymore. But he said, I make a standing order to my news vendor. He says, every month, please give me one engineering magazine. Okay, so he will have his favorite engineering magazine, and he will ask his news vendor to give him 7 other magazines that are totally not related to that. So the news vendor has absolute carte blanche, absolute discretion, can choose anything he wants. He will choose 7 different magazines. So I want you to imagine, in any one month, this CEO would get a stack of magazines. One of them would be an engineering magazine. The other 7 would be a bridal magazine. It would be maybe a horse magazine, horse and cart magazine. It would be a fishing magazine, a photography magazine, anything as long as it's not engineering. And you know why? Because he needs to think out of the box. And the only way to think out of the box is if he knows what's outside of that box. So if you are limiting yourself within your domain expertise, that's okay. But if you want to be able to think strategically, you need to link what you do to everything else around you. And one CEO that's really good at doing this is Elon Musk. I don't know if you've heard this name before, but Elon Musk is rising very fast. He is the CEO of Tesla, right? The company that produces electric cars, very popular. He is the CEO, I believe, of the Boring Company. Yes, only somebody as interesting as Elon Musk can create a company called the Boring Company. And he also runs a business, I believe. He used to be the founder of PayPal. Anybody who uses PayPal, he was the founder of PayPal back when it was still X.com. Right, so it was supposed to be the company that revolutionized banking, that made bank that disrupted banking online. So he was a visionary, and the only way he could do that, he knew nothing about banking. Nuts, he knew nothing about banking, but he studied it. He was exposed to it as a customer, and he researched it. He is also the CEO of SpaceX, right? If you don't know, you must know. SpaceX is the company that wants to go to Mars first before any other government on Earth. And Elon Musk is the guy pushing for that. So how is he able to do all of this? He is not a rocket expert. How is he leading SpaceX? He is not an automobile expert. This is what Ford and all the other car companies are saying. He will never make it because he knows nuts about cars. The company knows nothing about cars. They have no experience in cars. How is he going to do that? So he might not have deep domain expertise, but he hired people who had deep domain expertise to explain to him, to share to him. What he did have was a wide exposure of knowledge to understand what customers need, what problems customers face, and what he can do to solve them. And this is not a unique mind. If you look back to Steve Jobs also had this kind of mind, which was very weird for normal humanity, right? Usually what you do is you build a product from inside out, right? You build a product inside out, and then whatever that product is, you cover it with a skin, you cover it with a shell. Steve Jobs says he designs from the outside in. He says, I want a phone that's this thin, he tells his engineers. His engineers say, that's impossible. You can't have a phone that thin. And he says, no, I want a phone that thin. Work on it. So they had to go back to the drawing board and design chips, design boards that would fit inside that small phone as he demanded. And what happened was they actually pushed the boundaries of technology. They actually pushed the boundaries of creativity. And this is if you are a fan of Pixar, if you are a fan of Disney animation, you will know that every time they have a new movie, they actually have in-house. They actually have to create new technology, new software, just to be able to render the very amazing graphics. One of my favorites is Monster Inc. Okay, since I cannot read the text chat, I'm sorry. I don't know if you're telling me anything, but one of my favorites is Monster Inc. And they had to write from scratch a new program, a new code, just to be able to render Sully. Sully is the big blue monster. They had to render Sully's hair so that when he moved, it looked natural. So if you want to see a benchmark, watch Toy Story 1 again, and you will be severely disappointed because the graphics there were ridiculously primitive. And then you watch Toy Story 4 and you go, what? Okay, that's I didn't expect that. They have grown so fast, so fast. And the only way to do that is to have a lot of knowledge. Okay, so here's the thing: people who can strategize into the future, this is the first condition. Like I said, I can teach you anything, I give you anything, but you must open yourself up to a lot of output, a lot of input. And I'm going to say something very, very challenging right now, and I love to say this. Once upon a time, when Facebook was up, people were complaining. They were saying like Facebook is bad, you shouldn't be having it, you shouldn't be, right? So stuff happens on Facebook. They still do. They still do. It's just that you don't see it, and you don't see it. But if you were to look carefully, you would find those Facebook groups that you shouldn't be looking at. YouTube as well, right? There are certain areas of YouTube where you shouldn't be going there, but it's there. So what's the newer version of YouTube and Facebook in terms of scaring people? It's TikTok. If you don't have a TikTok account, I am telling you right now, you are missing out on a lot. Uh, my children installed TikTok last year, but then they got bored very quickly of it. Now they're back to coloring on paper. I installed TikTok because I wanted to find out what was on TikTok, and I discovered this is amazing. There's so much creators on TikTok. There's so much knowledge on TikTok. I can learn bite-sized stuff in 30 seconds or 60 seconds. I wouldn't be able to on Facebook or YouTube. So I initially came to TikTok like, what the heck is this? This is nonsense. Then as I spent because of the pandemic, as I spent more and more time on TikTok, and I realized there's a lot here. And I've actually managed to collect quite a lot of information about personal finance, because there are creators there who talk about personal finance. Number two, about art. I love art talks, so there are people who are sharing their drawing techniques and things like that. Uh, but if you install TikTok and the first thing you see is a bikini or dancing girls, well, don't panic just yet. The TikTok app does not know anything about you yet. You need to train it. You need to train it to know what you like, just like you train YouTube. YouTube looks at what you click and what you don't click. What you click more of, they recommend more types of videos. When you don't click more of, they keep away from you. So TikTok is the same. All you have to do is when you see a video you don't like, you just tap on it, long tap, and then click not interested, and it will slowly filter that out. I did not know that. Imagine if I did not know that and I got left out and I tried to strategize for the future, not knowing what the young people are on, what they're talking about, what their language is. If I was a business person, I'd be left out. Okay, I'm not saying you must be on TikTok. I'm giving an example. Okay, so now that you understand that you must have connection to information, whether it is deep domain information, subject matter expertise, or it is exposure to what's happening around you, uh, general knowledge, right? General knowledge. It is that data that ability, that information that you use to predict the future. Now, some of you, I know you know what I'm talking about, right? If you are in finance, or how you do your projections for the next year. If you are in budgeting, how do you do your projections for next year? It is based on past information. So today will be deep dive basic. It will not be intermediate or advanced. So for those who are already experts at strategy, I apologize, but I will give you something new, right? You might not have seen this in this version before. First step in any strategy, realizing that strategy is not a detailed plan. Strategy is an outlook, right? It's a general outlook on where you want to go by when. So you must have a very clear outcome. If you don't have a very clear outcome, that's going to be an issue, because if you say, jump, let's take a drive, and your husband goes, where are we driving? Anywhere. So if you don't know where you're going, sure, it might be an adventure, but it might take a lot of time. It's not focused. Some people live their lives like that. I used to live my life like that. In my 20s and my 30s, I was like on the sea. Wherever the sea brought me, I went with it. But after I had started having kids, I realized, okay, I cannot allow life to determine where I'm supposed to go. So I really need to hunker down and plan something, even if it is a very high level thing. So be very clear on your outcome. And when I say be very clear, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying so clear that every time you talk to someone, you can explain it to such level of detail, not the plan, but the outcome. This is what I want. So clear that they believe that not only will you get it, they believe that parts of it you have already gotten. So be clear on your outcome. Number two, you must have a plan to carry it out. Now, at this level, at the strategic thinking level, you don't need a detailed plan. You don't need like a day-by-day plan, but you need to have a path at least to be able to get you there. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Then we must have awareness. Awareness is the ability to see changes quickly before they become critical. So one example this morning was, I realized that at least I had no access to the chat box, which means I need to quickly adapt my approach. And until I come up with a better idea, I ask Umu for help. If there's anything in the text chat, she will inform me. But there's one thing that's missing from a lot of people, which is this: will, semangat, the drive to continue along with the plan, the drive to be able to work the plan, right? Irrespective of what happens, I will keep going. And in Malay, we call this hendak seribu daya, tak hendak seribu dalih. Okay, so if you really have a clear outcome, it will contribute to having clear will, a very strong will. Okay, if you don't have a clear outcome, you don't want something, then the will not be able to support that. Now, we're going to deep dive into each and every one of this. I hope we have time before we have another hour and a half, but I will require that you help me out with this. Okay, so we come to the outcome first. And in the outcome, there are basically three types of outcomes that you can write. The first is a personal outcome. And when I say personal outcome, it is for you, yourself, not related to your family, not related to your work, not related to anything else. It's just you, yourself, right? Could be your health, could be your spirituality, could be your own learning and knowledge, just for you. Not even to get money. You want to learn how to make pottery. You're not even going to sell that tabika, but you want to learn just because you want to. So that is a personal outcome. Number two is a professional outcome. A professional outcome is, of course, something for your career. And last but not least, if you are in an organization, and I'm going to say this, if you have a family, you have an organization. If you have a family, you definitely have an organization. If you're leading a team, a unit, a department, or a company, or even if you're the whole university, we got big boss here. We didn't never. It's just us. So if you lead any sort of organization, then you have the opportunity to write an organizational outcome. Why am I not calling it a goal? Well, a goal is something you aim for, and outcome is what you expect to happen. That's why I'm not using the word goal. Okay, goals are smaller that contribute to an outcome. So I'm going to share with you mine first, because it's not fair if I ask you to write yours. I'm gonna share mine first. And the personal outcome, I segan lah want to share, and the organizational outcome is quite a big thing. I'm going to share with you my professional outcomes, what I'm looking for. So before I tell you the final outcome, let me share with you my career, my journey so far. Um, I graduated from UIA, University Islam Antarabangsa, in 2001. But in reality, I had already started working in 1997. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in communication, and my love, I had two loves. I loved silat. I love silat to bits. Yeah, and I love writing. So I would write short stories. I would write articles. I would write opinion pieces. When the internet was there, wow, message boards were my thing. I was like always on message boards, to the extent of ignoring my friends, and even my people around me. So in 1997, I found a job, a part-time job. Even while I was studying, I found a part-time job at a magazine. It was a martial arts magazine. Did you know we have a martial arts magazine in Malaysia? So I could marry my two loves. I could marry silat, martial arts, and I could put together my love for writing, and I became a cup reporter there. And by the time 2001 came around, when I graduated, I became a full-time journalist there. So my path as a journalist led me to other things, because when I was there, I got to train other people in martial arts. So I discovered that, hey, more so than martial arts and more so than writing, I actually love developing people. I love training people. And that's when I started moving more towards the training line. So I count 2004 as the year after I left the magazine, the year I started moving into training. And ironically, because my background was in martial arts, I couldn't really start training in soft skills and stuff like that, even though I had a degree in communication. But I started as a wellness instructor. I hope nobody's looking at the camera, because if you're looking at me right now, this is not what a aerobics instructor looks like more. But back then, I was teaching people in Petronas, and we were doing quite good work with this company I joined. I was teaching the CEOs, the CEOs of Petronas subsidiaries across Malaysia, how to exercise, how to manage their stress. And it was nerve-wracking, because I was a little kuchibrat, little young boy, 24, 25, 26. I was 26, 27 about that. And I was teaching these big shots how to do things. That's when I realized that, hey, if you have something to share, it doesn't matter what age you are, as long as you know what you're doing, right? As long as it's within your subject matter expertise. So then I moved on with my corporate training experience, my ability to engage people of different ages, different levels, and my background as a journalist. I became a process trainer, or what we call a knowledge management trainer. So I now learned how to teach people how to write job aids, manuals, SOPs, policies, procedures, stuff like that. Okay. Then in 2008, from 2008 to 2015, I became a learning coach for a consulting company. This company is called Accenture, and it's one of the big five, I believe. There's 500,000 staff. So the learning coach role was based in Kuala Lumpur at their learning center. So I was helping to teach staff from around ASEAN, China, Australia, New Zealand tak ada, tipu-tipu. China, Korea, India, and sometimes Europeans would come to our learning center in KL as well. All in-house, all just our own employees, 500,000, they would go to one of 5 learning centers globally, and KL was one of them. Then I loved the job. It paid well, but it was not doing well for the family, because we were having work-life balance issues. So I left. And I became an independent learning facilitator, what you like to call a consultant or a freelance trainer, right? 2016, 2017, I left in 2015. So 2016, 2017, I really struggled. I was like, ada job sini, I go here. Ada job sana, I go here. And when I say job, I'm not saying employment. I'm saying clients want me to come train them. So these 2 years were quite bad because I discovered I'm not doing it right. I need to have a target. I need to actually do something. So I went back to my teachers. I went back to my colleagues who were consultants at Accenture, and I learned how to strategize for myself, personal and professional first. And what I did was I created a 10-year plan that started from 2017 all the way until 2027. And again, this is sharing with you my example, okay? And if if you can help me out, I would love for you to say Amin for me. My target, my 10-year plan by 2027 is three things. Number one is for me to attain my PhD, which I've been putting off for a very long time. Number two is for me to get my datukship. Don't laugh. Yes, I want a datukship. And number three, I want to become a global consultant, global level consultant. And what is global? Global means anything outside of ASEAN, I will accept as global. So once I set that at the 10-year mark, now I need to go backwards. And I need to decide how am I going to segment this out? How do I segment this to make sure that I can stay on track? So I go, do I segment into 5 years? No, too long. Then I only have phase one and phase two. Should I segment to 3 years? No, also a bit long. So I thought 1 year too short. I might not have enough impact. So let's try 2 years. So I segmented it. I broke it up into phases of 2 years. So 2018, I decided that I don't want to be just a learning facilitator. I want to start designing content for other people to use. I want to start designing more and more and more content. And guys, what you're attending today is part of that process. So I went back into whatever I taught in Accenture, all of the content, all of the experience I had, and I brought it back out. So I created a lot more content, a lot more courses. I now have 28 workshops in various areas, but all under the field of communication, and strategic thinking is one of that as well. And I broke it up into learning designer 2018-2019, learning licensor 2020-21. What does that mean? It means that all that content, all those courses, I'm going to license out to other trainers for them to teach. 2022-2023, I want to become a Malaysian consultant, which means that I want companies to call me in to help them solve their problems. Not training, not like hit and run 2 days training. No, I want to go in, show me a problem, a process problem or relationship problem. I'll help you fix it. Okay, I'll put my team together. I'll come help you fix it. And then 24-25, ASEAN level consultant. 26-27, global consultant. Now, here's something interesting that happened. When I was learning strategy, quite a lot of my teachers told me that not only must you write down your outcome, you must be very clear of your outcome. And I've said this already. So I'm like, why must clear? Because in this strategy, high level, why must clear? And they say, no. The plan does not have to be detailed yet, but the aim, the target must be clear. Okay. So I started writing again and again and again. Every time I could, I just find an empty piece of paper. I would write down the outcome again and again and again and again until it was so clear. So they said that was one. Okay, guys. So this is not going to be on the slides. Please write it down. Yeah? Number one, outcome must be very, very clear. Number two, this is what they taught me. Go and share with the people around you. Tell people what you want. And I go, alamak, macam mana ni? Malu lah. Okay, so then that shows the problem with a lot of people. When you don't share your hopes and your dreams, nobody can help you. Steve Jobs did not make the iPhone alone. He had a shared vision with his engineers. Of course, the vision was his, but he shared it. A movie director cannot create a movie alone. He has to share his vision with his cinematographer, with his actors, with the people around him, right? So if you want to get something done, you cannot do it alone. You definitely need people around you. So that part scared me the most. Like, to tell people what. Okay, fine. So I started telling people about my small goals just to practice with. Small stuff, just to practice with. And I'll give you one example, right? Okay, this is a bit embarrassing because I'm talking to you guys, so I apologize. I'm not trying to say anything about the academic industry. I know that I don't deserve it, but I'm going to share with you anyway. I said to my wife that, you know, before I die, the last thing I want to be before I die is I want to go back to UIA and I want to become a lecturer. I want to spend, after I finish all of this stuff, corporate training and stuff like that, I want to go back to UIA and I want to become a lecturer. I want to lecture there until I'm gone, right? As long as they want me, as long as they have me. And it was an offhand thing. And I remembered what they said. If you want it, right, go tell people. So me, where's the best place to tell people? Fast. I went onto Facebook. And I said I want to and it was a funny sort of I still have that. It still pops up once in a while. Every year it pops up. Facebook reminds me. I told people I want to become a lecturer before I die. I want to become, actually I was very specific, I want to become a eccentric lecturer because I love having eccentric lecturers in UIA. They were just weird people, and I want to become an eccentric lecturer. I want to be the kind of a lecturer where, like Dumbledore, I will grow a long beard, and I want to, that will be my last job before I die. And I posted it on Facebook. And barely 48 hours later, I get a WhatsApp message from my friend. Her name is Dr. Afiza Ali. She is the Deputy Dean of the Kuliah of Languages and Management. So if you know, UIA doesn't use the word faculty, they use the word Kuliah. Yeah? So Kuliah of Languages and Management. And she WhatsApps me and she says, "Hi Nazrin, I heard you want to become a lecturer." And I reply, "Ha ha ha, yes, before I die." And then she replies to me, she says, "You want to be a lecturer for me?" And I said, "You don't play the fool, please. I don't have a master's degree. I don't have a PhD. I have only a lousy first bachelor degree." And she says, "That's okay. A lot of our lecturers are out on PhD studies now, and we don't have enough lecturers to teach. So do you want to come in and we can bring you in?" There's something they call industry expert. I don't know. I don't know if you what you call it in UM, but they call it an industry expert program. We can bring you in the industry expert program. And I go, "Really?" She says, "Yeah. So here's a list of courses. Which one you want to teach?" I was shocked. And I chose one of my favorite subjects, intercultural communication. So I taught there for 2 semesters. And if you guys are looking at my webcam, I still have the part-time tag. I still I still go in sometimes just to hang out. I don't know how you feel about UM, but I love UIA. I love the campus. I love the masjid. I love just hanging out and I just watching. So that proved to me that if you want something, not only do you aim for it, but you also need to share it with the people who can support you. But of course, you know what happened when I posted on Facebook? There were some comments there like, "Ha ha ha, jangan mimpi lah Nazrin." Unfriend. Because I don't unfriend him in real life, I just unfriend on Facebook because sakit mata lah tengok. Then barely a few days later, after I got that done, a friend of mine, his name is Hezri. Hezri says in one of our WhatsApp groups, he says, "Hey, anybody can help me lah. I want to go on radio lah. I want to speak on radio. I want to be a guest speaker on radio." And I said to Hezri, "I'll tell you what. I don't know anybody in radio, but do this, right? Go on Facebook and then just say I want to be a guest speaker on radio." And his record was better than mine. Mine record 48 hours. Dia punya record 8 jam. 8 hours later, someone on his Facebook, in his Facebook friends, was working at Radio Outcame. And he got the message. It says, "Hey, we're actually looking. We don't have enough guest speakers. Do you want a slot? We'll give you like a series to do." And Hezri is a corporate trainer, and he was shocked. This is what happened. And I said, "Well, it's number one, If you believe in dua, it is part of that dua. Number two, you must collaborate with people. You need to have people around to help you. So that's why I have learned to be unashamedly to share my goals, share my outcomes with people, and that's why I'm doing this with you right now. Because interestingly, after I started posting on Facebook about I want to be a Malaysian consultant, be an ASEAN consultant after global consultant. In 2017, I got an email from Cambodia, of all places, Cambodia. This guy, his name is Gabriel Helmi. He says, I saw your LinkedIn profile and I'm interested to bring you into Cambodia to do training for our clients. So this was a training provider. And I said, okay, interesting. So I went to Cambodia. I enjoyed it so much. They loved working with me and they offered me a partnership. So I now own 20% of the company in Cambodia. I am a part business owner of a company there. How? All because I shared what I wanted, and somewhere along the line, someone communicated. I don't 100% believe in the law of attraction in terms of the universe and things, because I believe in God, but I do believe that somehow this message got across from person to person to person that okay, this person is looking for work in ASEAN level. And if you don't tell people, people will not know. So every couple of months or so, I will say, I'm interested to do work in this country, in this country, in this country. Can anybody help me out? And since then, I've done work in Cambodia and Brunei, and now arranging for work in Australia, inshallah. But because of the pandemic, don't see that just yet. So that's from me, all right? And I won't be able to read your questions in the text chat. So I would request, if you have questions, please turn on your microphone and ask me now before we give you an activity to do. If you don't turn on your microphones and you have no questions, just type in N in the chat and Umu will tell me there's a lot of N's so I can proceed. Because if I do this, okay, anybody have any questions? I look at you and you look at me and we waste time, right? So the better way is if you have no questions, you give me an N in the chat. So Umu, are there N's in the chat?
Most of the reply now is N.
Okay, so that means no questions. My teacher says
Right.
there's only two reasons why you have no question. Sangat-sangat faham atau sangat-sangat tak faham. Tak
No,
tahu.
I have question. A
Okay,
quick
go ahead.
question.
Yes.
Okay. Came about your professional experience and what sort, and you did mention that you have to withdraw yourself because of the work-life balance.
Mhm.
Okay, what makes you want to prioritize your mission, your vision? Is it because is the conflict between you and the family time or what sort? Can you share with us?
Okay, it's a bit sensitive, but hang on.
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, I have to check. Is my wife around? No, she's not. Okay, so this studio is my bedroom. So to make a long story short, if you work for a big consulting company, before I joined the company, I asked my uncle who was, okay, my question, anybody might remember this name, Arthur Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Arthur Anderson and Anderson Consulting later on became Accenture.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So anybody who joins these companies have to prepare. They will pay you a good salary, but they will take everything from you.
They will squeeze you.
They will squeeze everything out of you.
Yeah.
And that's what my uncle said to me. Say, if you want to join, your career will go very, very fast. But the reason it goes very fast is because they will throw you into situations where you have to problem solve. I joined in January. In August, March. I joined in March 2008. They sent me to United States for 2 weeks in August to train. And then in December, they sent me to Melbourne. Now, guys, guess what? Before that, the only country I ever been to was Singapore.
Okay.
I was 29 years old. 29 years of my life, the only other country I've been to was Singapore. So I want you to imagine this, right? I'm traveling, I'm doing all sorts of stuff, but I'm also working. I leave the house before Subuh. I leave the office after Isha. Before I leave, the kids are asleep.
Yeah.
After I come home, the kids are asleep. The salary was fantastic, right? We could afford so many different things. But then I noticed that, okay, so this is where the awareness part comes in. I started noticing that things were not okay. I needed to focus more, and so we had to sacrifice something. If I stay, I can get a better salary. It will go up year by year by year, but this one goes down year by year by year. Or we sacrifice a little bit and then suffer for a bit, which we did for a couple of years. Because when I left Accenture, I did not know the market. I did not know how to live in the training industry. But I had to learn fast. So that's why I said the first 2 years, 2016, 2017 was wasted because I was like, ikut angin lah. Ada job
Yeah.
pergi, tak ada job tak pergi.
You were in an audit firm, which
No,
yeah,
I was not an audit firm.
yeah.
Accenture, Anderson Consulting is an audit firm.
Okay.
Sorry, Arthur Anderson is an audit firm.
Yeah.
But Anderson Consulting, which later became
Consulting.
Accenture, is a consulting firm. It's a
Yeah.
technology and management consulting firm.
Okay.
Right?
So you would prefer to sacrifice the money lesser, but at least you have more time for the family. Can I say that?
That is right. That is
Okay.
right. So what is the outcome I'm looking for? I'm looking for more time with the family.
Yeah.
And
All right.
as a result, this is more deep diving into the plan again. As a result, when I planned how I marketed myself to the industry, I decided not to do my own marketing. Because if I do my own marketing, I have to go out every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I did was I partnered with training providers, which means I get paid less, but my time is free. I can control my time.
True.
All right? Does
All
that answer
right.
your question?
All right. Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much. So now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to challenge you to do what I did. I believe you know what Padlet is. And I'm going to give you a link to Padlet. Oh, great. I just realized since I don't have a text chat, I cannot give you the link.
Perhaps you can share it with me.
Okay, I'm going to WhatsApp it to you, boleh?
Alright, boleh.
All right. So maybe during lunchtime we can sit and figure this out. Why am I not able to? Is it a permissions thing or something? But I do remember the last time we did this, I could access the chat. That's why I'm confused. Okay, Umu, it's coming, and please put it into the chat while I share. So guys, if you came for this course thinking you just sit and listen saja, no, we're actually going to have you do something. Okay, where is this? Padlet, where are you? Okay, confirm for me, Umu, that you can see my Padlet.
Yes, I can see.
I'm
I
not
have
going to
shared
assume.
the link in the chat area.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to assume that everyone knows what Padlet is, but if you've been teaching online, and this is an amazing tool, at the bottom right of the screen, when you come in, click on that link and come in. On the bottom right of the screen, there is a cross. Click on that, and please type your name in. And I want you to type in what is your outcome that you want. Let's do something simple, right? A 10-year plan that starts this year, 2020. So it will end in 2030. Just do this exercise for today. Okay. So what is your 10-year, not 10-year plan, but 10-year outcome? By the end of 2030, what will you have achieved? And I will give you the opportunity to choose either a personal outcome, a professional outcome, or a organizational outcome. Okay. So if you think that the personal outcome is 2 PNC, that's okay. Choose a professional one. If you think even that's 2 PNC, okay, you do something for your organization. And when I say organization, not UM, your department or your unit or whatever group that you're leading. So I'm going to give you guys 7 minutes. I'll give you 8 minutes. This is 9:52. By 10 o'clock sharp, I want to see everyone's outcome. And if you want to write it down on a piece of paper and then update in the Padlet, that's also okay. But I would love to see things start appearing already so that we can write it out. Now, if you are shy, which you shouldn't be because we are all adults, then I will allow you to not write your name and you just remain anonymous. Okay? So you have 8 minutes. Please update the Padlet with your outcome. If you have questions, all you have to do is turn on the mic and ask me. Okay, I will mute my microphone for 8 minutes. Let's see what pops up. Omo, if there's anything in the text chat, can you please update me, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. 7 minutes of silence on my side and just reading what you have here. All right. We have be a professor. Remember I said be very, very clear. Professor in what? What would it be like? Will you have it? Will you have an office? Will you have tenure? I don't know. I don't know enough about the academic industry. Tell me more. And this is an expert in educational psychology. Okay. Haha, I shy. Okay. Legal advisor for UM. Now tell me, as a legal advisor for UM, what kind of work will you be doing? Tell me there. Jordan says be a professor, building, surveying. Tell me what kind of work will you be doing? Kita ada berapa orang hari ni, Mo?
We have 17.
How come I see only 6? There were 9 missing. Oh, sorry, we have 8 missing. Wait, my math is really bad today. We have 8 missing. Where is everybody else? Okay, I love this. Thank you very much. To be a senior lecturer in education, in any higher education institution with lot of ISI and Scopus publication, Anonymous, do me a favor, give me a number. Give me a number for you to hit. A lot. Berapa? Travel at least to 10 countries, okay, personal. Okay, so you got your professional and your personal there. Give me more clarity. Okay, giving legal advice. What kind of legal advice? For what kinds of situations? Haha, I shy. What kind of legal advice and for what kind of situations? What kind of cases? There you go. Professor in accounting, at least 50 Scopus, 20 HC. I don't know, ISI. Wow, okay. Anis, an expert in educational psychology. What will you be doing as an expert in educational psychology? Will you be doing only work internally for university? Do you want to do work outside? I don't know what the limitations of local universities, but I see, in other countries where they create things for the industry, license it out, stuff like that. Tell me more. Tell me more. Oh, Dr. Zaruddin, be a professor of building, surveying with my own consultancy practice, doing highly scientific work with advanced gadgets. Oh, I love this. To find out why building nowadays are built like okay. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but okay. Alhamdulillah. I saw that one. Where did it go? Be a good mother, having enough time to be with the family. Okay. NM, give me a ratio. When you say enough time, how much time? How much time per week? How much time per week? So if you work 40 hours a week, how much time per week? And I'm not just pushing you just because I want to. The clearer you become, the easier it is for you to plan. Ni belum masuk plan lagi ya. Ni belum masuk plan. Ini apa yang kita nak. What do you want to achieve? Okay, Dr. Zaruddin, I think you look like you're done. Siap ada orang love lagi tu. I know who you are. Don't do that. Let him or her, or let her have her anonymity. Okay, and it says in the midst of doing PhD, in, right? Well, you are in the midst of doing PhD. I believe you are in the midst. But 10 years from now, what will you be? Professor of Pharmacology is well known for her expertise in pharmacoepidemiology and the adverse drug reactions and contributions to the nation. Good. Seven people out of 17. Where are the other 10? Okay. Be a better mother, wife, and daughter. At least put them in my list constantly. All right. All right. Thank you. Having more than 35 hours a week to be with the family. Thank you. That's good. Okay, you guys have 1 more minute. It is 9:59. 1 more minute. Oh, okay. I think some people have been writing it out on paper and now they're transferring. Okay, that's good. To achieve financial freedom, good. Financial freedom. This is the challenge with some people who achieve financial freedom. What does it look like? Yeah, that as a header besar boleh. Now specifically, what does it mean? I had a major health issue after completing my masters. Okay. All right, time's up, guys. I can only give you 1 more minute to finish it up. And I will keep this here because we can keep coming back to it as I'm explaining the rest of the model of strategic thinking. I wish to complete my PhD and be a role model. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah to my son. Okay, I can only give you another 30 seconds. People actually commenting on each other's outcomes. I know who you are. I am the shy one now. All right, time is up. Now, can I have a volunteer from someone who can turn on their microphone? Anyone who wrote here, and tell me how you feel. Okay, I'm going to be very specific. I'm not going to ask you how you think, what you think. I'm going to ask you how you feel. And please, please, somebody please volunteer and share with me. Who would that be? Because in my class, there's only two options: volunteer or voluntold. If you voluntold, then I will come after you because I have your names. Okay, who would like to volunteer? All I need to do for you is to tell me how you feel after you did this. 5. Okay.
Hi.
Hello,
Me again.
doctor.
Hi. How do I feel
Yeah.
after yeah? I've changed career from industry like 15 years back just to go to be a lecturer post, and so far the feeling was and still happy. Because the question being asked by my friends, how would be to be a lecturer? How you feel now? I'm happier. I am, more satisfying, and I love to give back,
Mm-hmm.
because I was from practice. So because
Right.
I promised myself to bring in practice in the university and what sort, and the feeling is still there. The feeling is so excited to be here. I love my what I'm doing here, although it's non-stop working. Yeah, it is non-stop working, but it's something that you look forward to every day. So that's my feeling. So Alhamdulillah,
Okay.
we make a right decision, of course, because it's between me, the family, and whatnot, and I never regret to have that. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Follow up to that question is, after you did this activity,
Mhm.
how do you feel now?
I'm still with the same aim. Yeah, with
Okay.
the same aim. Meaning, because I always ask myself and push myself, what else Saida, after this? What else?
Mhm.
What is else? What do you want after this? What is it? So when I jot it down, write it down, read it down, that the thing that you asked us to do, I'm still thinking the same thing. Not so bad. After, because I'm very new in
Okay,
UM, only 2 years, so yeah, not so bad. I can, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
very nice.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
which one are you?
The professor accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come you didn't put your name there?
I don't know why it doesn't have name, but yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't have name, but you can put it into the title.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, longer
Okay.
with
Well,
that.
the reason I ask is some people are shy to share their outcomes. Have you
Oh,
noticed?
okay.
And this is something that I had to overcome. People were telling me if you want to be able to achieve your goals, you
Mhm.
need to be able to share your goals. And one of
Yeah.
the barriers to sharing your goals is thinking is not good enough. People will laugh at you. People will find that people will think it's lousy. So this
Mhm.
is where you build up your who the heck cares
Yeah, true.
attitude. Like suka hati aku lah.
Yeah, true, true.
And
But not
if
so many
we
people like that. You have to know that.
understood, which
Yeah.
is why I'm telling everyone here, if you really want to achieve your goals, this is one skill set you need to pick up.
Yeah.
The ability to value your own outcomes, okay, and then respect your own outcomes and share your outcomes with people.
Yeah.
No more of this malu lah, segan lah, apa semua, because you know what? You complain about your students like that, right?
Mhm.
Apa malu-malu ni? So we have to be the same. We have to stand up as well and be proud of
Yeah.
our outcomes.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm not
yeah.
going to force anyone to share who they are, but because you sounded very, very sure, that's why I was wondering, kenapa tak kena nama kan?
Smile.
Thank you for that.
Silap. All right.
Okay,
All right.
can I
Thank
have
you.
one more?
Okay.
Thank
Well.
you. Can I have one more person, please?
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Yes, Dr. Sawati, apa khabar?
Belum lagi doktor, tapi Amin.
Amin.
Yeah.
Saya doktor kan semua orang je, habis cerita.
Okay, Amin. Okay, I am the I'm shy.
Okay,
Okay, because I didn't manage to update because I got lost somewhere. So
that's
anyway,
okay.
just to tambah, but the question was, how do I feel after
Yes.
writing it? Honestly speaking, I feel that I am still far off from the outcome that I want to achieve. That's
Okay,
how I feel.
that's
Yeah.
good. Because
Yeah.
when you say far off, that means you can now see between here and there.
Right.
And that's
I-
3,650 days away,
Right.
isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So when you think of 3,650 days, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, looking at it because actually I think I don't know whether I am the most senior here in terms of age, but in service I still have another 10 years to go. So
Okay.
whether the outcome is achievable in that 10 years, I deep inside I know it is achievable.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
so okay. Thank you very much. Can I
alright.
have one last person? And I'm ready to call on one person. But can I have one last person, please, to share? 5, 4, 3, 2. Semua segan-segan, semua malu-malu. All right. So I'm going to call on Dr. Zahrudin because what you wrote is very interesting. Dr. Zahrudin, are you there? Hilang dah.
I think he has left.
What?
Yeah, he has another
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah,
Thank-
he just left. Maybe the internet or he'll come back.
Tak apalah. No worries. Okay. Thank you very much for that. So we've covered the outcome, and I will say Amin. I will say I wish you all the best for everything you've written. Now here's what you want to do. Okay, this is one time. It's not a one-time deal. Every time you find a notebook, a piece of paper, or some place where you can jot it down, rewrite this again and again and again. I'm telling you this again and again and again and again. You know why? Because your brain will be adding layers and layers and layers to it. The more you write about it, the more it will become not real. It will look more and more possible because you start seeing more and more pathways to that. And I've done with the experiment with people. I said, go for the craziest idea you can, yeah, craziest goal you can, and then just talk to 4 people. I did this activity several times. Okay, talk to one person, share your goal, then go talk another one, talk another one. And they discovered that after 4 times of talking to someone, they chose a silly example. They chose a silly goal just for the fun of the activity. But by the end of the 4th person, they said, boleh buat lah ni. Betul-betul boleh buat. Because you know why? When you talk to someone, the second person you talk to, that topic is still fresh in your head, and you keep adding on more details to it. You get deep diving. So if you can, share it with people. If not, you just rewrite it again and again and again. And I'm sharing with you a best practice of mine. It has worked for me. So if you really want to achieve a particular outcome, that's how you do it. On every iteration of sharing will have deeper and deeper details. And don't forget to write those down. Okay? So if you have questions, please ask me now. If there are no questions, you know what to do. Give me an N in the chat, and Umu will say, there's a lot of N's, Nadzrin. What does the chat look like?
N.
N. Okay. Thank you very much. Now let's talk about plan. So we had 4 things, right? Outcome, plan, awareness, and anyone remember the last one? Will. So we talk about plan. Whenever you have a plan, when you want to take that high level outcome and make it a reality, okay, you need to have what we call a critical path. So anybody in project management will tell you what is a critical path. It is the must-have, dia wajib jadi in order for that plan, in order for that outcome to be achieved. So, for example, if you want to have your PhD, you must go through your bachelor degree, you must go through your master degree in order to get to your PhD, right? So that's a critical path, dia wajib jadi. You want to get to SPM, kena lalu PMR. Actually, what do they do now? PT3. You must pass through UPSR. Actually, now dia pakai apa dah tak tahu dah. You must pass through these phases, okay? Because that's how society designed it. If you want to be you want to become an athlete, then you have to pass through certain phases of training. If you want to pass school, okay, you must go through primary, secondary, and university. If you want to have kids, then you have to pass through a critical path there. But this is what happens, right? What if you don't get your bachelor degree? Does that mean you can't get your PhD? Well, this is what we call a backup plan. When the critical path exit sometimes changes, then you need to have a backup plan that can still get you there. And let's just say, for example, my sister did not do very well in her SPM. For me, my SPM was okay lah, dapatlah masuk UIA matriculation, and then from UIA matriculation went into the university. She did not do so well. So what she did was she went to College Saputra. So we sent her to College Saputra where she really shined. Yeah. So school was not her thing, but college she got to study what she wanted. She got her diploma. She got her certificate there, and then she continued into UITM. She got into UITM. From her diploma, she got her degree there. So slightly late, but she managed to get it all done. And then now she's out working, of course. But we do know of a certificate, diploma, advanced diploma, and then that gets you to where you want to go, right? So depending on what structure it is, there must always be a backup plan. So if you say cannot go to primary school for some reason, whatever, there is still homeschooling. There are many other options as long as you fulfill the government regulations. Now, what if you want to have children, but you don't want to go through this particular process? Can fast track, marry someone with children, whether man or woman. Okay, so the examples I've chosen may be a bit funny, but I hope that sticks in your head. Now, I want you to write this down. Okay, in terms of backup plan, okay, you must have 3 levels of backup plan. Okay, write that down, please. 3 levels of backup plan. Okay, when you look at the critical path, any of your plan, if you make 100% plan, katalah your plan is, cantik lah, 100%, you must expect that some part of the plan becomes unrealized because of anything. It can be something localized like your health, right? Your health phase. It can be something personalized like you lose your job, okay? or it can be something global like a pandemic which affects everybody. So be prepared to have up to 100% of your plan tak jadi. Okay, be prepared to have that happen. But also focus on what parts of the plan do continue. Jangan nangiskan, don't cry too long about, boleh nangis, okay, you're allowed to cry, but don't cry too long about the part that disappears. Focus on the one that is running, that's still okay, and then you add in your backup plan. Okay, and then that hand in hand will go forward. So if you remember, I shared that this year 2020 and 2021 was supposed to be my learning licensor years, not my learning designer years, my learning licensor years. And I started that process last year in October. I had started selling my courses to other trainers. So last year I did in October LEAP, Train the Trainer certification. I taught trainers how to run my course, which is called LEAP, Leading for Excellence, Action and Performance, which is basically creating leaders. And we had 22 participants who are now certified by me to be able to run my course for their clients. And in January, I believe, January is right. In January, I ran another one for speed, which is solving problems efficiently, effectively, and decisively. And in total, we got 33 facilitators, and they were the ones who were going to teach the course instead of me. And that was the start of my 2020 phase, which was learning licensor. Suddenly, the pandemic happened, and we had to start from scratch all over again. But it was still part of the plan to become a learning licensor. So I thought, what can I do? And very quickly, Umu knows this, very quickly, I designed a course called the Virtual Learncaster to help trainers, because trainers were suffering. Now, these people were earning like 8-10K a day, and then suddenly zero a day for months because clients canceled trainings and things like that. So, but you can still do training online. There are two questions. Number one is the trainer say we don't know how to. Number two, the clients say we don't think it's efficient or effective. Okay. So yes, you're right. There will be a hit on effectiveness, but my teacher always says, don't worry about what you cannot do. Focus on what you can do. So I created a course called the Virtual Learncaster, and I launched it into the market, and about 250 people right now from 18 different countries have signed up, and we now have a family of virtual learncasters, from lecturers, teachers, trainers, coaches, what have you. And I was amazed. I was like, hey, cool, this actually works. So what I did next was I certified 17 people to be able to run the course without me. And ladies and gentlemen, since March until November, I think was the no, October, March to October, I was running this course. From November onwards, it is the facilitators who are running this course. I'm moving on to other things. So I'm actually earning a license fee from whenever they teach this course to someone. They pay me a portion of their income. So that's my phase for the learning licensor phase. Even though the original plan tak jadi, what I did was I quickly enacted a backup plan. So now, this is not going to be in the slides. Please write these three things down. You need to have 3 layers of backup plan. And if I were to ask you to model, okay, to find a hero, who is going to be the hero of backup planning? The hero of backup planning will be Batman. So if you don't know Batman, get to know him. He always has backup plans among backup plans. His backup plans have backup plans. So 3 layers. Layer 1, you must have a backup plan that is readily resourced, ready to go, which means that you can put it into action almost immediately. Now, what is an example of this? I have this very bad habit of, when my mother says go and buy susu ideal, instead of buying 1, I buy 6. Because why I'm malas nak beli lagi. So my storeroom looks like a storehouse of food. But if anything happens, inshallah, we will be able to last for at least a couple of months. So the idea is have a backup plan that is readily resourced. Readily resourced, that means you've invested into it, it's ready to go at any time. What are some of the backup plans that Malaysia has now? Once upon a time, Malaysia knew nothing about the tsunami. Tsunami was a Japanese thing. It wasn't. It was a Malaysian thing. Then the South Asian tsunami happened, and hundreds of thousands of people died in Aceh, in India, in Thailand, and we got hit a little bit as well. So we woke up and like, oh, hang on, tak boleh jadi ni. So now we have a high-level strategy. We have put buoys into the water that can help us to figure this out. Okay, so we had zero backup plan, but now we have a backup plan. We know that at least we've invested into this technology. There are people monitoring it. They know that when they see these signs, they can put it into action immediately. With my example, it was actually not a level 1 backup plan because I was not ready. I was not ready for the pandemic, but I was aware. When I saw something happen, when clients started cancelling in February, they started cancelling already, and I go, okay, ni tak berjadi ni, I need to do something. So I immediately started my workforce performance skills virtual class. Guys, what you're attending right now was actually put together in March in order for me to survive. So I taught 20 hours for 20 nights just to be able to earn from other people, other trainers. And this course that you is one of those topics, is one of those 20 topics that I extracted from my courses and I turned into a virtual class. So I had a level 1 backup plan, which was this one. All I had to do was go into the slides that I normally use. I just break them down into 1 hour topics to teach online. The virtual Learncaster is what we call a level 2 backup plan. So if level 1 is perfectly resourced, ready to go, level 2 is a backup plan that has resources promised. So for example, when I first started out, I asked my uncle, when I first started out in the industry, I asked my uncle, there will be times when I think I don't have work. Would it be okay if I were to borrow some money from you? And he says, okay, no problem. Anytime you need it, you just ask me. And alhamdulillah, I have a fantastic uncle like that. I only needed to borrow from him once, because that promise actually helped me to navigate better. Imagine if I had no promise, I had no safety net. So the level 2 backup plan is a plan that is ready, but it is not resourced. You have it planned out, but it's not resourced. Okay, so when the level 1 backup plan goes into play, for example, in my case, pandemic happened, I put the level 1 backup plan, which was the workforce performance skills course, turn it into a virtual course. I put that into play. But the level 2 plan, which was the virtual Learncaster, it was not fully resourced. I had not built it yet. So I had to slowly prepare that. Once you put the level 1 into play, level 2 must now become level 1. Okay, so you must now fully resource level 1. I don't know if you understand this, so please ask me questions now. If you have no questions, give me an N. Omo, what does it look like?
No reply yet.
No reply yet. Okay. They're either thinking about it. Apa nak cakap ni? Okay, so again, 3 levels of backup plans. Level 1 is something that's ready to go. You have the resources. Level 2 is the resources are there, but they're not yours yet. They are only promised. Okay, and the plan is detailed, but the resources are not there yet. Level 3, you have a plan, but no resources attached at all. The plan is not even detailed. So if you want to be like Batman or you want to be like me, okay, you have a backup plan, three layers of backup plan, and first you plan based on what you know from the past, problems that pop up in the past. So health problems, you need to have 3 layers of backup plans. Relationship issues, you need to have 3 layers of backup plans. Finance issues, you need to have 3 layers of backup plans. If I lose my job, macam mana? Okay, I put into action this one. Okay, I have at least my EPF to hang back on. I have at least these things I can pull back from. Tapi kena ada. It must not be promised. Level 1 tak boleh promise. Level 2 must have promise. resources. Level 1, you must have it with you. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. Again, this is just sharing it. I did not panic as easily in the pandemic because I still have my company in Cambodia and it was still paying me money. But because we had to pull back on some of our staff salaries, I said, keep my salary, don't pay me yet, just keep it there, but pay them first. So now, Alhamdulillah, I still have money standing by in case I need it, and that gives me a safety net. Okay, it is immediately usable. I can immediately transfer it because it's sitting in the bank account over there. Okay, so I have a level 1 plan ready to go at any time. Level 2 again is a plan that is detailed, but is not resourced yet. Sorry, the resources are there, but it's only promised. Yeah, it's not fully resourced. And level 3, you have a general plan but no resources at all. So I repeat one last time. When you put level 1, a level 1 backup plan into play, the level 2 and level 3 must now move up to become level 1 and 2. And then you have to create a level 3 plan. Usually, I've never seen a situation where you have to use all 3 plans, but it's good to stand by. Okay, so any ends there for no questions?
Now it's end.
Now it's end. Okay, so we have no activity for this one, but I want you to start thinking about this. What is your critical path? What is your critical path? What are the things that must happen between now and 2030 for you to achieve that? Okay, to achieve what you want to achieve. So it is 10:25 now. I'm going to give you a 5-minute break. Within that 5 minutes, I want you to think hard about what are the things that must happen in your critical path. What must happen for the outcome to happen? Okay, so go back to the Padlet and then update the Padlet with things that must happen. Just number them. Number 1 must happen this. Number 2 must happen this. Number 3 must happen this. Okay. If it doesn't happen, then you will not be able to reach your outcome. Okay. So I'm going to give you a 5-minute break. We will come back at 30 sharp. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, this animation should only be the first question. So I'm going to edit this and come back. Omo, we break for 5 minutes, yeah?
Okay, Mr. Nadzrin.
Thank you. Okay, guys, update the Padlet with your critical path. What things must happen? All right. I saw some people updating into the Padlet. Thank you very much. This will help in the next part of today's topic. So now we're going to talk about the critical path storyline. How do you create that plan? What must go into that plan? So today, strategic thinking is not about planning. Okay, it's not about planning. We'll talk about that in the afternoon topic, work planning itself. But strategy is having a high-level idea. But having high-level ideas still needs information. So the first question is, what must happen for the outcome to happen? And in my case, if I want to hit a PhD, I want to hit datukship, I want to hit global consultant by 2027, I must do this. I must continuously self-learn, right? So I must constantly read. I must constantly be on the internet, learning new things, going for courses, things like that. And if I want to be credible in the industry, remember, to become a consultant, people need to see what you do and how you do, and whether you are certified or recognized by people. So certifications, I must go for certifications myself. And then formulations. Formulations is I must create new frameworks. I must create new things that can be used to help clients succeed. So either I must create courses, I must create models, I must create assets that can be used to help, tools, things like that. I must have varied local and regional client work. So right now, alhamdulillah, I sort of jumped the gun. Before I did Malaysian work, I did Cambodia. I work in Cambodia and work in Brunei. But this year, for some reason, even through the pandemic, I've been getting quite a lot of local projects. Uh, and if I can, if guys, if you can make dua for me and you say Amin for me, there is this project coming up, inshallah, with, of all places, the Tun Razak Exchange. So I'm looking forward to doing consulting work for that company, because Tun Razak Exchange is that big thing in the middle of KL with, former prime minister's big building right there, and that will really help seal my resume for the next few years. So I'm looking forward to that. So I hope you guys pray for me on that one. In terms of what
Amin.
must I have, thank you very much for that. Baru masuk about 3 days ago. We're putting in the proposal. We are cracking our heads to put the proposal together now. So what must you have for the outcome to happen? For me, I must have at least 1 year savings, and that took a bit of time. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to say I'm 50% there. I don't have it. I don't have 1 year savings, but about 50% there. Thanks to the projects I do in Cambodia, thanks to the work I do there, I can do it virtually. I don't have to be there. I lead my team from here, but we use Zoom lah. Kita tak pakai MS Teams as much. Q2 time. So if anybody is familiar with the 4 quadrant, urgent, important, not urgent, okay, for those 4, Q2 is the time that you set aside to learn, is the time you set aside to develop. So if you work every single day, you are in Q1 time all the time, you are not balanced. You need to have some Q2 time set aside in your life, time for you to read, time for you to learn, time for you to grow and develop, whether spiritually or academically. Family life, because otherwise I will not be able to concentrate, and I must have a professional network. And what is a professional network? It is through this network that I get to know about jobs and clients and opportunities out there in the world. So I'm not going to ask you to do this on the Padlet, but think about it. What must you have for the outcome to happen? Number 3, what must you do for the outcome to happen? For me, I must continuously research. And I'm sorry, I use the word research here from a layman perspective, not from an academic perspective. Oh, sorry. I will have to read more. I'll have to find out more. I'll have to experiment more on my own. Design more innovative offerings like training courses, workshops for clients. And then I must deliver high quality work, because if I don't, then I will not be recommended to other clients. And last but not least, last question is, who must help for the outcome to happen? So this you cannot forget, right? Who must help? You must identify the people. And in my case, it is family, it is friends, it is training providers, facilitators, my partner teams, and consulting companies and clients. Now, guess what? Everybody in that list knows my outcomes, what I want to achieve by 2027. I told it to them, and they're very supportive of it. They say, oh, okay, we can help you do that. So if I show to them what I can do for them, and I tell them this is what I want to achieve, then they can also help. And I'll give you a very simple example. Yeah? Recently, I started working with this company called the Melbourne Business School. And the Melbourne Business School is attached to Melbourne University. But Melbourne Business School is actually a private company owned 50-50, 50% by the university and 50% by business leaders. So they set this up. And apparently MBS was set up before Merdeka. It's that old. Okay, so the Melbourne Business School operates in Melbourne and it operates in KL. When the CEO for MBS called me and said, Nadzrin, we're interested to have you on to our project for our clients. So I'm on 2 projects with them right now. Very early on, after I met and after I got to the projects, I sent the CEO an email. I said, his name is Jeffrey. I said, Jeffrey, I want to be open and honest with you, and I want to show you that I'm fully dedicated to these projects, because I want to share with you that I am open for work in Australia, because this is MBS, right? This is Melbourne Business School. So I'm open to do work from Australia, and I wanted you to know that, because if there is anything, I would like you to consider me first. Now, 10 years ago, Nazrin tak boleh buat kerja macam ni. Ini namanya kerja gila. Ini namanya buat malu orang saja. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. I was like, malunya lah nak minta-minta apa semua kan. But then I was taught that, well, if you want something, you have to ask for it. But asking is not asking for free, right? How I approach it is, Jeffrey, I will be dedicated to this project. I will do my best. If I don't do my best, you tell me, I will improve immediately. I will make changes. And I'm telling you why I'm dedicated, because I want this. And Jeffrey wrote back to me and says, thank you very much for making that clear. It's good to know that you're very clear about what you want. And actually, yes, there are a few things that might require your expertise in Melbourne itself. But if you had not told me this, I wouldn't have known. So when that email came back, I'm like, cool. So this is further evidence that if you want something, you must share it. So that's where that last question, these are all the people who know. And Umu knows a little bit by now. But if you ask my participants, you ask my friends and family, they will know that this is what I want to achieve. Okay, so what questions do you have on the critical path? If you have no questions, give me an N. But I would prefer if you have questions. That helps me to share more and teach more and make that I'm doing a good job here, because I cannot see you. MS Teams is not ideal for learning, at least not for me. I cannot interact with you as well. So, no questions, give me an N. If you have questions, please turn on the microphone and ask.
Encik Nazrin, if I may.
Yes, please.
Okay, the first part of critical path storyline, you said what must happen, right? So,
yes, what must happen?
Self-learning certification. I just want to know the difference between what must happen and what must you do. Because
thank you very much.
Yeah.
So what must happen is sometimes out of your control, things that you cannot control, but you must ensure it happens. So it can be that you ask other people to do it for you. It can be that you insert yourself into a situation where it happens. For example, you cannot, let's just say, you cannot, okay, in my case, I cannot work in Australia. What I can do is I can ask for work in Australia. What must happen is somebody must be able to allow me to work in Australia. So when I know what must happen, then I know what I must do to make it happen. Does that make sense?
Okay.
The reason, the first question is there, what must happen for you to be a professor of pharmacology? Okay, I'm making stuff up, I'm sorry. You must have a PhD in pharmacology, and then second, you must have a certification, you must, I know, you get an award or something like that, or you must have enough articles in a particular journal for that to happen. Okay, now you know that this is what must happen. What must you do to make it happen? Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the first question sets up the storyline. The rest of the question gives you more and more clarity about that storyline. And thank you for that. That's the first time somebody's asked that question. I've been hoping, but nobody seems to want to ask the question between happen and do. Any more? What questions do you have? Anyone else? Okay, so I know that some people have updated the Padlet with the first answer for what must happen. And I'm not going to ask you to do this, but if you want to, you can practice. As I'm talking, you can add in a little bit. What must you have? What must you do? Who must help? And I think for me, the most important question is the last one, who must help? But you have to take responsibility first. That's why do is the third question and help is the fourth question. It is not, okay, these people can help me, you must do first. Okay, let's move on. Now let's talk
Mr.
about...
Nazrin, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay,
No worries.
there's a question here from Deboshri.
Okay.
She's asking, how do we identify the best sources or person to get help from?
You want an academic answer, you want a personal answer. Kalau academic answer tu, I don't have it. Kalau personal answer, macam ni. If you have people who support your goal, support your dream, okay, then these are the people who layak untuk tolong kita. At the same time, you must ask yourself, what have you done for them? So I will try to keep this as non-business like as possible, but the fact is human relations are economical. Okay, the late Stephen Covey says that we, all of us, have bank accounts of trust. I trust you because of what you've done for me, what I have seen you do. So when you do more trustworthy things, things that benefit me, then I will trust you more. So before you ask for help from these people, you must also ask yourself, what have I done for them? What can I offer them? So in the case of Jeffrey with Melbourne Business School, I offered him my full dedication, and he can marah me anytime because he's paying my income for the project. He can give me feedback. In fact, I got a feedback session yesterday from MBS. It was harrowing juga lah, because they were telling me, Nazrin, you did this very well, but this one you must improve. So like I had 7 items I wrote down I have to improve, and I said I will do that. Rasa kecil hati jugalah, but that is something you have to control because it's a business relationship. So to answer your question, more so rather than who, when you say resources, I could have misunderstood the question. Umu, can you read the question again, please?
How do we identify the best sources or person to get help?
Okay, so
yeah.
sources, I assume sources still refers to people lah. And if it refers to people, my answer still stands. First, the people who will help you are the people who are willing to help you. Contoh macam your mother. Okay, in many cases, even if you've been a bad son, bad daughter, in many cases your mother will help you anyway. Okay, but if it's everybody else, ask yourself what you do for them or what you can do for them in order to receive that help. Baru fair. So does that answer the question? And you can type in yes or no in the chat and Uma will tell me. The easiest,
yes, Mr. Nazrin.
Okay. The easiest way is I post on Facebook, I tengok siapa ketawa, unfriend. So I'm left with only the people who support me. Okay. So we've covered outcome and plan. Now let's talk about awareness. Awareness, we're going to use this particular model called VUCA. And people are surprised that I use the VUCA model for this instead. VUCA was documented or created by the US military in 1980s, very long time ago. And parts of the model are not as relevant today, but people are still using it because it has good value for us to think about things. Okay, so what is VUCA? VUCA is a model that says that the world is now volatile. The rate of change is very high. So look at the pandemic, right? Things change so fast. Kadang-kadang sekolah, kadang-kadang tak sekolah. Kerja ke office, kadang-kadang tak kerja ke office. So volatility is the rate of change becomes very, very high. If your country, God forbid, na'udzubillah, gets plunged into war, okay, volatility, things change every single day. And then there's complexity. Complexity is multiple key decision factors. There's too many things to think about, too many things to talk about. Malaysia, for example, has a complexity that is built up of economical, historical, racial, religious relationships. America is worse off right now. We think we're bad. America is really worse off right now in terms of the complexity. Kadang-kadang tak boleh cakap sikit kena tembak saja. Because why? There's always something wrong that you can say accidentally because your values are different. And then there is ambiguity. Ambiguity is something happened and you're not sure what it means. So for example, government reports that the vaccine is ready, but we don't know when we'll get it. What? So if we don't know when we get it, there's no clear, the information is there, tapi tak faham. And last but not least is uncertainty. Uncertainty is you're not sure about what is happening right now. So uncertainty and ambiguity are similar. Complexity and volatility are similar as well, but they represent different things. Now, depending on your personality type, this is the interesting thing. Depending on your personality type, different people will respond to VUCA differently. Okay? So in terms of volatility, how should you respond? in terms of uncertainty, how should you take action? Okay, this is what we call the future concern, volatility and uncertainty. How do you plan for the future if everything keeps changes every day? How do you plan for the future if you don't have enough information? And then there is complexity and ambiguity, which is a past concern. Okay, how to be efficient moving forward? How did it happen? You need to find out. So two of these things relate to information, uncertainty and ambiguity, information, and two of these things, volatility and complexity, they have to do with it is complexity lah, basically. So what do you do? What is the response? With volatility, you need to build in slack and flexibility, which means your plan, when something happens and you can recognize pandemic is very volatile, your strategy, your plan, especially your critical path, must have the ability to have lots and lots of backup plans. And then do what I do, stockpile inventory. You just buy a lot of susu, simpan dalam rumah. And then not material saja, tapi if you're talking about business, overbuy talent. Overbuy talent means if you cannot learn, then you must be able to access people who can solve the problem for you. Okay, so this one specifically is not individual, it's not personal, it's more of an organizational thing. This is the time you want to invest in smart people. Yeah, not cut away people. Bukan get rid of people from the organization. This is when you want to actually start bringing them in. In terms of uncertainty, this is where you invest money in information. Okay, this is why I say, especially when things are uncertain in this pandemic, masa ni lah you must pay attention to real accurate information. Tak payahlah dengar all this hearsay, fake news apa semua. Okay, you have your Telegram channel for Majlis Keselamatan Negara. Subscribe to that, and you will know exactly what the government says every single day. So invest in good, solid information. Identify validated information sources and then subscribe to those. Collect information, interpret, and then share with others. So if we, for example, in a neighborhood, right? For example, sad to say, one of my neighbors is the whole house was infected with COVID-19. 2 houses away from my house. Wait, this is my house. 1, 2, 3. So 2 houses away, that means rumah ketiga is this house. And this, my mom, because my mom is better connected than me in the neighborhood. I am connected to the rest of the world. My mother is better connected. WhatsApp from the neighborhood WhatsApp group, identifying that the Pak Haji and his whole family just got carted off by ambulance to the hospital, so they are not at home now because the whole family got tested. So imagine this uncertainty in the neighborhood. Kau dengar tak ada Pak Haji kena ni. I was like, what? So if you allow rumor to spread, then there will be panic. What you need is actual information. And Alhamdulillah, someone wrote a very clear WhatsApp identifying what happened, identifying if you have been in contact with this person, go and actually exactly what to do. So I appreciate this person. I know who it is, but apparently it's my mother's Warga Emas WhatsApp group, and we got exactly everything we needed. So not only do you depend on other people for information, you can take responsibility, especially if you know the facts. You can take responsibility to collect, interpret, and share information. And then complexity. When it's complex, you need to simplify. That's why a lot of companies, they are merging organizations, they're merging departments, or they are selling off parts of their company so that they can focus. I have a few examples. Hotels. Some hotels, hotel chains are selling off their hotels because they want to focus on what they do specifically. Air Asia is also changing. Okay, they're trying to survive, so they're going to move into other things. Hire or develop specialists. If you cannot develop, then you hire. So it's simple like overbuy talent, but in this case, the specialists are people who understand what's happening and they can give you simple solutions. And then last but not least, build up resources and SOPs. Why resources and SOPs? because in times of complexity, the human brain cannot capture everything. So you must be able to have guides. And I'll give you an example. I don't know if you know this organization. It's called IDP. IDP, even I don't know what it stands for. IDP is an education organization, sort of like British Council. They do IELTS exams, and they are one of my clients in Cambodia. So when the pandemic hit, we were in the middle of a project to help upskill their leaders. When the pandemic hit, we had to focus. We started focusing on building relationships in the organization, but then we discovered that their SOPs were nonsense. They had no SOPs. Their processes were not documented. If one person goes on leave, then the rest of the department doesn't know how to do his work. It was that bad. So when the pandemic hit, it was worse because you needed to have some sort of routine to be able to handle complexity. So we had to come in again, help them build out those SOPs, build out those resources, and Alhamdulillah, they have managed to survive all the way up until now. In fact, they're running virtual classes backwards and forwards, and they're getting more enrollments from students. Because in Cambodia, just like Vietnam, just a few other countries, English is very important, and they are a famous English training provider. Last but not least, ambiguity. How did it happen? So when something is ambiguous, and even you don't have the correct information, what you need to do is you need to experiment to find out. And here's the example for me. When in March, when I started losing jobs, I did not know whether any of my plans would work. So I tried a few. And the ones that stuck were the workforce performance skills courses and the virtual learncaster course. There's quite a few. You don't know this, but there's a few that I tried that did not pan out. But I'm doing one, testing one out right now. It seems to be working. So now I have 3 things that are running that are generating income for me. So you experiment. You need to try things out. For example, this pakcik behind my house lost his job. So what he did was dia buka gerai. Buka gerai. First dia buka gerai burger budget RM2. I was amazed, like, wow, what's your margin, bang? Burger budget RM2. But then I noticed that as the days go along, dia punya gerai transform lah. Ada goreng pisang, ada all sorts of stuff. His gerai kept getting longer and longer and longer. He was experimenting. So people who came for his burger budget RM2 at night, he opens up at 7 p.m. after Maghrib until about 10 o'clock. In the daytime, the gerai burger is still there, but he opens up his gerai goreng-goreng yang lain. And I salute him because he was experimenting, trying to find something, and he tried few things. Goreng pisang lah, now he's stuck to goreng pisang. He no longer does everything else macam what's it, keropok leko and stuff like that. He just focuses goreng pisang and burger, and people know to come to him. Dia buat depan rumah saja. In my house, this brother who does fantastic char kway teow, he was formerly a chef at Red Hotel in KL. In fact, behind my old office, Sheraton Imperial Hotel. And when the hotel closed, he buka his gerai kway teow. Sedap, ridiculously sedap. Seorang chef kan. And he experimented with a few things. So now his source of income ada 2. He runs the kway teow stall, and when people say, bang, abang punya udang ni sedap lah, abang punya kerang ni sedap lah, and he shares, saya punya supplier adalah supplier untuk hotel. And my mother is very picky when it comes to udang and stuff, and she says, sedap this udang, mana dapat? So now he is also a supplier to the neighborhood, jual udang, jual kerang. And here's the best part, because he gets direct from supplier, he can actually sell cheaper than all of the kedai-kedai runcit around him, and it's very high quality. So his experimentation created several income streams for him. So that's basically the 4. Now, I don't know whether Umu can help me out. This is going to be a bit of a challenge. I want everyone to tell me which of these 4 cause you the most headache or the most worry. So for example, Nadzrin, I'm okay with volatility, and there's a reason for this. Very early on in my life, my parents divorced, and my mother and I, we moved around a lot from house to house. Um, I think before I got married, we had 7 different houses. We were living in 7 different houses, rented, of course. So growing up, I was very used to change. I was very used to fast change. So volatility does not affect me much. I can always find a way to do something. In terms of uncertainty, also I'm quite comfortable with uncertainty. I'm okay, no problem. Because kalau uncertain, I'm the kind who talks a lot. I like to meet people and ask a lot of questions, so I know how to do that. In terms of ambiguity, I'm also good. I'm comfortable with ambiguity. What I cannot do well is complexity. My brain doesn't seem to want to tackle complexity. I become very depressed. I become very worried. I become very scared when things are too complex for me to understand. It makes me feel stupid. It makes me feel like I'm not smart enough. I cannot solve the problem. So that's mine. Nazrin can handle volatility, uncertainty, and ambiguity. Complexity is the one that causes me problems. And when you know which one causes you problems, that's the one you want to be more aware of, because that's the one that will throw you off your game and off your plan. So Umu, if you can help me, I want everyone. There's 17 people in the room. I think one person is left. I want you to tell me in the text chat, choose one. Yeah, I know somebody will say, I want to choose two. No. Choose what is the number one out of these 4 that causes you the most stress. The one that you feel, oh, susahnya nak handle benda ni. Okay, Umu, I'll give them 1 minute, and then please count for me, Umu. How many volatilities, how many uncertainties, how many complexities, how many ambiguities?
Okay.
Thank you. So 1 minute. Anything pop up yet?
Yes, they start answering.
Okay. Now
Someone
remember,
said that they never thought all of this until you raised up today.
well, this is sometimes you don't want to know, and when you know, you worry even more. But if you want to be a strategic thinker, you need to take this stuff into account. And this happens not just at a macro scale, it happens at a micro scale as well. Some families are volatile, right? Some families are uncertain, complex, ambiguous. Complexity more to deal with culture lah. Like for example, when you marry into a family and you don't know what the values are, what their relationships are, who hates who likes who, boleh buat drama swasta tu. Okay, how many do we have of each?
All right.
Sorry, Umu, but I need your help on this one.
It's okay. From the answer that we've got, we have 6 response. So the most
Okay.
is complexity.
Complexity. Oh, might like
Yeah.
me. Okay. What are the others? How many of the others?
Uncertainty and ambiguity.
Uncertainty ada berapa?
2.
Interesting. You're not too concerned with volatility. Can I ask the question? And Umu, you can answer on their behalf. Is it because you feel that your jobs are safe? Is it that you feel that UM will take care of you? Is that why volatility is not a big thing for you?
I guess part of it is yes, because in order to university to function, they need the academician. So
All right.
right. So I mean, without academician, then what's the point? So I guess the
Kan
safety of the job is there.
yeah, you are the core business drivers.
Right.
Betul? Okay. So you get enough information. And are you a private university now,
No.
or are you still a public university?
UM is a public university.
Public university. Okay. So I think that helps. So I can understand complexity. Complexity, especially when there's so much information going around, you don't know what is what. Some people are saying this, some people are saying that.
Right,
So
right.
thank you for that. Any other comments in the chat?
No, they are just answering the question. And someone said saving and backup plan when you mentioned what volatility just now.
Saving, huh?
Saving and backup plan, meaning this person have the saving and backup plan.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
she's not concerned much about the volatility.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, everyone. So let's move on to the last one, which is will, your big why. Okay. So now I want you to go back to the Padlet, and I want you to share. And this time we're going to have you turn on your microphones and actually share with us. Um, what what is the key driver for you to get to your goal? So if you think the outcome is right at the end, the will is right here pushing you towards it. Okay, so either we go to the Padlet or we go one by one. I'm going to give you time to think. It is 11:03 right now. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to think. 3 minutes saja. I want you to write it down, and then I will actually ask you, because your names are right here. I'm actually going to ask by person to share what is driving you to be able to achieve the outcome. Okay, so how many people do we still have in the room? We have 14 people, and we'll go through one by one by one. Okay, so it's 11:04. You have until 11:07, another 3 minutes. Think hard. The question is your will. What is driving you towards the outcome? I'll give you 3 minutes of silence. Here we go. Write it down, and then we'll go person by in the list.
Mr. Nazrin, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Because we are planning for our future. That's why we need to know our outcomes, right?
Yes, correct.
What if a person didn't care about that at all? Should a colleague or family be worried about him or her? Like when we
Um,
ask what's the outcome, he just simply no, I don't know. I don't know what to do with my life or anything. I'm just comfortable here.
okay. So your question is, should we be worried?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, maybe you can explain in like um what make him or her not interested of having the future outcome or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have an academic answer for you. I don't have any research that I can share with you, but I can share with you from my own experience when I was like that. And I would say it is a level of comfort that you have. There's two things lah. Number one is a level of comfort and a level of fear. So you are either very comfortable with what you're doing. Tak apalah, kita nak pergi mana lagi? Ini dah okey dah ni. Tak apalah, kita jalan je. Apa yang ada jalan lah. We do what we do, we get what we get, right? So that's a level of comfort because they don't want to move outside their comfort zone. The other one is a level of fear that they fear if they try, they will fail. So these two are interconnected. Okay, I was like that in terms of I didn't like people forcing me. I didn't like people to. I'll tell you a story, right? I was accepted into two universities. Technically, not even university. I was accepted into ITM, Institute Technology Mara, and I was accepted into UIA. The problem was the acceptance letter for ITM came first, and UIA tak sampai-sampai. So I thought, okay, I'll go to ITM lah. Do you know the main reason why I chose UIA when it came? Is because ITM offered me AD10, which was art and design, and I love to draw. I love design. I love creativity. But then it hit me. Hang on. Uh, if I take AD10, that means I have to draw for other people. And then if I draw for other people, if they ask me to draw and I cannot draw, I tak ada mood, tak ada creativity masa tu, tak ada idea kan, macam mana nak buat? So because I was scared that I will not be able to handle that kind of job, that's why I chose to go to UIA. Alhamdulillah, it was a good choice, but for the wrong reason. Yeah, I totally love my choice. I love my degree. I love whatever I learned, and I'm using everything right now. But funnily enough, I chose it because I was scared. So sometimes God helps you where you make a wrong decision, but you get a good outcome anyway. But that could have been very, very bad. I could have hated the course. I could have hated what I did. So from my perspective, I don't see opportunities in the future because I don't think I deserve it. I don't think that I'm a good person enough to be able to deserve it. That's why some people malu lah, you ke nak dapatkan datuk. I challenge myself to tell people I want a datukship because I know people will laugh. I know people will make fun. And I wanted to test myself to be able to say, and now nobody laughs. They go, you want your datukship? Now they ask me, what do you want your datukship for? I want to do something for Malaysia. I want to do something for the country yang melayakkan I dapat datuk. I will not buy a datuk. Tak dapat tak apalah. But everything I do from now, I will do for the country in order to earn that. So the datukship itself is not the outcome I want. It is the measurement of how much I've done. And I force myself to tell people that. But of course, before the datukship is the PhD lah. PhD more important than datukship. Does that answer the question, Umo? Your first question was, should we be worried? The answer is, if you care for them, I say yes. Yeah, because there were people who looked at me and said, Nadzrin, kau ni terapung-apung, terawang-awang, sampai bila nak macam ni? And I didn't listen to them. It was only after I got married and I had kids, then I go, okay, tak boleh jadi ni. I have to do something. But even then, it was not perfect. It was only after I left Accenture that I really, really put down plans. I really put down strategize. Does that answer the question?
Yes, I guess when we face with challenges, then somehow we need to come up with a plan.
Well, challenges you can do one of two ways, right? You can, okay, look at this, right? There are people like Richard Branson. If you've heard his name, Richard Branson is a very ad hoc guy. He doesn't plan much. He goes with the flow. But when he goes with the flow, he breaks barriers. He has a very famous saying. He says, if someone comes up to you and asks you if you can do something, agree to it and then quickly go and learn. So if they offer you an opportunity, take the opportunity and then quickly go and learn. Tapi kena baca dia punya quote tu betul-betul. Okay, he's not saying if someone says can you operate on this guy, you automatically say yes, I can operate. Tiba-tiba ni gue belajar operate, buat surgery. No, not like that. If an opportunity comes to you and it's within your ability to do it, tapi you're scared, say yes anyway, and then quickly go and learn how to do it properly. And there are several people who have done this very well. Any Star Wars fans will know that Harrison Ford, the guy who played Han Solo and later on played Indiana Jones, he was a carpenter. He was not an actor, but he needed money. So when George Lucas invited him to act in his movie, he readily said yes. Because even as a carpenter, he was not a real carpenter. He was looking for jobs. People said, can you fix my roof? Can. He bought a book on how to fix roofs, and while he was reading, he was fixing the roof. That's the kind of person he is. And there are people out there who, you know what they say, they fly by the seat of their pants. They don't plan, but God loves them and they can do that. So if you face a challenge, you can choose to fix it as and when it comes. But my recommendation is jangan selalu sangat, because then you are firefighting. You know what they call firefighting? Every single day, you are fixing problems in your office, but you're not getting closer to your goal. If that makes sense. Hari-hari ada je benda nak kena selesaikan, tapi you forget to focus on the things that you want to get there. Okay, so dia ada barang-barang besar, there are big things that you have to focus on. Sometimes the small things at the office or at home cause you to forget the big things, and that's dangerous. Right? That's dangerous. So I would say that for yourself, for all of you, and for me, we need to have an overarching goal, a big goal that we must reach in 10 years, and we remember that. You must have that, standing by in your brain at any moment. Because otherwise, if you don't have it, then terawang-awang lah ke sana ke sini lah. And jangan jadi macam some of these people I've met. Nak buat macam mana, Nazrin? Dah ditakdirkan macam ni. I'm like, what? Siapa takdirkan awak jadi macam ni? Okay, I'm very sensitive to things like this because I used to think like that. I used to think this is what it's like to be a person with a broken family. Father's not around, mother's struggling. This is what it's like to have no friends. Because I move around a lot, I couldn't even invite my friends to my house because we didn't have our own house, and I didn't want them to know about my family situation. It was like that, right? So there are people with issues, Umo, and we don't blame them if they don't have aim in life. Something happened in their life that caused them to be like that. But if you want, you can guide them, you can mentor them, or you find someone who can guide and mentor them. It takes a while, but inshallah, doakanlah and it will happen. Okay? Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so now we're going to ask everyone to share what drives you, and I want everyone to share. So who would like to volunteer before you are voluntold? If nobody volunteers, we will go down the list one by one. Maka saya minta beranilah, because dengan berani barulah kita boleh jadi strategic thinker. So who would like to volunteer first?
Can I?
You may, go ahead.
Okay. My main driving force, of course, is my children.
Good.
And the will is actually to leave a legacy.
Nice.
Not big legacy as in, like Menara Tun Razak or things like that. But for me, legacy is something that will be mentioned and even after I die. Because Maya Angelou, the poet, dia kata,
Yes.
if you are going to leave a legacy and make sure it's something that cannot be erased. So that is my goal lah. Goal and also the will plus the goal tu lah. That legacy tu lah. So it can be as simple as macam, oh dulu mak dia rajin tanya pasal makcik sebelah. Those kind gesture, that little things lah. To me that is at least for me lah. That's the will lah.
Thank you very much. I was watching a TikTok video yesterday. Yes, it's on TikTok. I saw this TikTok video yesterday about this guy who decided to change his life because of what his doctor said to him. His doctor got his results back, his medical report, and doctor said, sit down. And doctor asked this question, do you have children? And he says, yes. And yes, he said, I have a son, and my wife is pregnant. And he says, what do you have? Is a baby girl. Okay. So he says, do you want to see your girl? Do you want to be there when your girl graduates from university? And he says, yes. Okay. Do you want to be there to walk her down the aisle when she gets married? And he says, of course, yes. So he said, the doctor says, if you don't do what I tell you to do right now, okay, these results are so frightening that if you don't do what I'm telling you to do right now and turn your life around, turn your health around, there will be a different man, there will be someone else at your daughter's graduation, there will be a stranger walking your daughter down the aisle at her wedding. And the doctor made it so clear to this guy. He says it scared me so much that he turned his health around. He went to the gym. He says that there were times when he woke up, I don't want to go to the gym. Oh, malas nak pergi gym. And he just thought Bella's wedding, and he got up and he went to the gym. So if you don't have this will to push you every single day, right? If it's not strong enough, you need to find something that's strong enough. Otherwise, your strategy, you just simpan saja lah, no point. You just have that nice outcome on the wall, but there's nothing to push you towards it. Thank you very much, Dr. Sawati. Next, please. All you have to do is turn on your microphone or your webcam and let's go. Anybody, anyone? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's the good news, Dr. Zawati. You can choose the next person. Yes, this
Wow.
is how I roll.
Okay,
You can choose the person.
Dr. Shiba.
Okay, Dr. Shiba, silakan. Dr. Shiba, are you there? Okay, nama sudah ditulis. Okay, Dr. Zawati, choose someone else.
Okay, Nolisa.
Mana Nolisa?
I'm just going
Nolisa
up.
binti Zahra. Okay, silakan.
Okay. I'm speechless.
Well, even if you haven't thought about it, just share with us. What drives you? What will drive you towards that 10-year outcome in 2030?
I mean, like my problem is like the last 10 years, I had the same outcome that I want the next 10 years,
Okay.
but I was not able to achieve it the last 10 years because of family issues and all. So now, when you want to look forward, so you become uncertain. You understand what I get? That's why I put
I fully
my concern
understand.
was uncertainty.
I fully understand, and that actually can be an excuse or it can be a fear.
Yeah.
That's why you need the will to keep you going. You say, okay, last 10 years tak jadi, this 10 years jadi.
Okay.
And if this 10 years tak jadi, tak apa, 2040 atau 2050, 2060, 2070, 2200, up to you. Okay, so share with us what will drive you.
So what will drive me is usually your inner self that wants to do your best. Okay, and also now you also have children that, I mean, as you say, but then, as I said, you also tend to drive other people to perform with you. For example, now
Okay.
you are also pushing, I mean, your will would be your children, and you are also pushing your children. So now it's not just your inner will, but it's also like your will for other people. So I'm not sure. So I think it's still the inner drive that, I mean, your inner passion, I think.
I
I
agree.
don't know how to
I
word
agree.
it.
No worries. Dr. Lisa, my question to you, do you have a BFF, a best friend forever? If it takes you that long to answer,
I guess my husband, but yeah.
no, no guess. If it takes you that long to answer, then you're missing something in your life. I have two. I have my own wife, of course, my best friend forever, and I have a friend in Dubai. His name is Imran.
Okay.
Imran constantly challenges me. We update each other on what stuff we're doing, and he's doing really well in Dubai, right? He's like consulting over there. But he jahat lah dia. Kadang-kadang he say, "Oi, I did 50 push-ups today."
Okay.
They
Okay.
go,
So you also have somebody
okay.
that have like push
Yes,
you together. All right.
that's
Okay,
right.
okay.
That's right. So if
Alright.
you don't have one, I recommend you find one.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Dr. Lisa, you can choose the next person because nobody wants to volunteer, so choose.
Can I choose Shiba?
Yes, but we chose her just now, but she doesn't seem to be there.
Okay. Because I can only see like certain people here on my screen.
If you
Mazida?
click on the participant list, okay.
Okay,
Dr.
Mazida.
Mazida, are you there?
Assalamualaikum, I'm here.
Waalaikumsalam. You sound scared.
Yes.
We're all friends. Go ahead.
Okay, so the big why
Yeah.
that drive me, the will, okay? I think it's time to give back because I have achieved up to this level, and I think it's time for me to give back to the society, whatever skills that I have. That is one. And also, I would like to become a useful person before I die.
That will be an outcome. What drives you to become a useful person?
Yeah, to have whatever knowledge that I have, I would like to share with the other people.
Okay. Anything?
And
Oh,
also, some of
okay.
the will is for my own self-satisfaction.
Yes, there you go.
Because at this age, I see that Allah has granted human with a beautiful brain. And for me, we have to fully use that brain to
Agree.
appreciate the anugerah that Allah has given to us as a human. And lastly is the responsibility. We are here in this world. We have responsibility to others. So we cannot just sit down doing nothing. So we have to fulfill our responsibility as a Khalifah. So that is my
Thank
opinion.
you very much.
You.
Yes, I like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So please choose the next person.
I volunteer.
Ah, no,
Oh,
nasib
okay.
baik. Cepat-cepat
So,
volunteer.
okay, sorry, Dr. Mazrina, apa saya cakap?
Tak apa.
Okay, boleh ya, because I just came back from meeting, so dengar
No,
sekejap apa benda nak cakap.
do you understand the question?
Yeah, more or less what drives you.
Ah. So pause
Alhamdulillah.
for a second. We talked about the 4 elements of strategy.
Mhm.
It's outcome, plan,
Mhm.
awareness, and will.
Mhm.
So to clarify, will is that drive that pushes you towards the outcome. You can have fantastic outcome, cantik, you can have a fantastic plan, but if you don't have good, strong will,
Yeah.
then apa-apa jadi, tiba-tiba, tak jadi, tak payah buat lah.
Yes.
Okay? So that's
Yes.
what we're looking for. What is that thing that drives you?
The thing that drives, of course, is yourself, one thing. And I would say that whatever that we achieve today in life, yeah, if Allah say no, you won't achieve that, you won't get that. That's one thing. It's not the takdir kita. It's not. I always believe that, and I always believe tak ada restu suami, tak ada restu mak ayah, anak-anak. That you won't get there. You won't get
Okay.
there.
So
Hebat
are we
macam
saying
mana pun you.
restu? Talking about restu, eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
restu is very important for me. Yang kalau hebat macam mana pun, you won't reach there if you know your husband tak restu you pergi further study, you know, your mom and dad tak restu you pergi. So I believe if I don't have that restu, I won't be this level. Yeah, so far alhamdulillah. And what drives me, I always challenge myself to ask what else, you know, what else you want to do, what else that can help people, what else can you contribute to people rather than thinking about yourself. Ya, hidup kita kat dunia ni bukan kita seorang je, orang lain pun sama. So give back,
Betul.
give back. And what motivates and drive you more like now, the work is my customer is my students. Yeah, how can you push your student to the max to reach their fullest potential? So that's your role as lecturer, as supervisor, and even as researcher to some extent. So yeah, I love that what should I say? Motivation, that will, that drive you. That drives me every day. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So
Thank you.
so far 1, 2, 3, 4 people have answered, and I love your answer. I'm going to share this with you, everyone. Yeah, when you have a very strong will, be prepared to have people around you not understand you. Be prepared to have people around you sometimes criticize you because their will is not as strong, their vision is not as clear. So they go, kenapa nak kena buat benda macam ni? Menyusahkan je. Tapi benda yang menyusahkan tu contributes to your outcome. Okay, so be prepared to have people question you, criticize you, but at the same time, there will be other people like you who recognize that, oh, this person is a visionary, this person is far-sighted and foresighted. So the trade-off for being a strategic thinker is people don't understand why you do certain things. And I'll give you a simple example, whether you agree or disagree. Once upon a time, when you think Australia, you would think the Sydney Opera House. When you think New York City, you would think the Statue of Liberty. When you think of Paris, you think of the Eiffel Tower, right? And one of our prime ministers had this vision. I need to create an icon, but I don't want to waste money create an icon just for show like the Statue of Liberty. I want to create something that actually can represent Malaysia. And to this day, you know, when I was in Accenture for 7 years, every time our participants come from all over the country, all over the world. They would always ask, where can we go? When can we go to KLCC to take a photo? Like, what's this big deal with KLCC? Oh, no, we must take a photo in front of KLCC before we go. And then I realized, well, he is a visionary, and he thought of putting things together. And there was one time on radio, I heard one brand communications manager who was in charge of the KLCC project. Rupa-rupanya KLCC has a 50-year plan lah. It has a 50-year plan. Phase 1 was to make people see KLCC and then be able to brand it as central. So anything on kata KL Twin Towers, KL Twin Towers, KL Twin Towers. And then the next plan was to brand the convention center. And then it's still going on. The branding is still going on. And I was amazed. So not only did he create a functional building, it's a bit old now, it's about 30 years old right now. Not only did he create a functional building, but it became an icon. Jadi tanda mercu. But back then, people were saying, bazir duit lah, apalah, all that stuff. So, right or wrong, we see the effects kadang-kadang later. But at the beginning of your plan, at the beginning of your strategy, people might criticize you. So, be prepared for that. Thank you very much, Doctor. So, Dr. Kadir Saida, would you like to choose the next person? Or if you don't like to be chosen, then you volunteer cepat-cepat. Somebody volunteer. Okay, nobody's volunteering. Doctor, silakan. Dr. Kadir Saida. Who would you like to choose?
No, I think somebody raised hand.
Ada, I cannot see the raised hand. So
kesian dia tak nampak raise hand kejap ya.
I know, kecil. Is it Deboshri?
Yes.
Okay, silakan. But the hand is still there. Hello.
Omo has to read it out because I think Devashri is in the library. She
Yes.
cannot.
Okay.
Oh.
Let me read out. Alright. My family's financial security, but nothing that challenged me for personal growth. More like taking care of everyone and excelling in my profession. But again,
Okay.
to reach out to help others, but not with the focused goal. This question made me realize there is nothing drive me for my own growth. Need to work on that.
Yes, that's good. Thank you very much. I'm happy to see that I don't know if you get something take away from this 3-hour course, but I want to do my best to give you something to take home for yourself and your family. If not your work, right? Something for yourself. So thank you very much for that. Think very hard about why you wake up in the morning. Because if you wake up in the morning, and I'm not just talking to you, Dr. Bashri, everyone here as well. If you wake up in the morning, you're like, malas je nak pergi kerja, then you have a problem. I will be very honest with you because I used to be like that. 7 years at Accenture, I loved going to work. And I'll tell you this, I live in Rawang. The office was in Putrajaya, 70 kilometers. My daily commute was 140 kilometers a day for about 2 years, and then the office moved to KL, then it became 70 kilometers a day. But I loved every minute of it. And that's what drove me to keep going, because don't get me started on this, I will talk for hours on why I love that job. But then, of course, the job was not good for the family. So we had to strategize, we had to change. So everybody, if you cannot answer the question why I wake up in the morning, why I want to do this, then find the answer quickly. Thank you very much. So who would like to volunteer next, or ask Dr. Deboshri to choose you? They will actually type your name into the text chat. Come, volunteer, so we speed this up. 5, 4, 3, 2. Has Dr. Deboshri typed anything yet into the chat? If not, then
Not
Dr.
yet.
Khalil Zaida will have to choose again. Okay. Dr. Zaida, please choose someone.
Dr. Kohan?
Yeah, Dr. Kohan, silakan.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
I'm not sure, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what drives me basically is just to prove to myself to have a better version of me, and also to set an example for my children. If I can be very honest, I think I've been a very introvert person. I think I'm better talking to computers than talking to people. So I always try to be behind of everything. So, but now having children, I think I need to set some examples to them. And also looking back, I think I haven't really achieved much myself. So it's just trying to prove myself that I can be a better person, to be somebody, and also set some example and also to contribute back in whichever way I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cohen. And I'll say this as a son, I'll say this to you. And I know you as a son will feel the same as well. Children, we don't care about your professional accomplishments. We want to be proud of the person you are. So when we see that you look at trash on the side of the street and you pick it up and you throw it away, you can remain an introvert, no problem. You can, as long as they see you rescue a puppy from a drain. They see that when you fill up petrol, the guy who puts in petrol for you, you give him a ringgit for just because you want to appreciate him. You give charity. When we see this of our parents, this is what we're looking for. I mean, we know nothing about the work that you do. We might not know about the legacy you leave behind in UM, but I believe you're right. You want to show them that how to be a better person. And I love this quote: be the person that everyone expects you to be. So your wife fell in love with you for a reason, and it's a standard. It's a standard to hold up to. It's a standard to live up to. Your children look at you as if you were a superhero, and that's the standard you want to live up to. It's difficult, but that's what drives you every single day. So, Dr. Khan, don't worry about any professional, achievements and things like that. I think just by being there with them, and one of the reasons why I'm a bit overboard as a father is because I didn't have my father around for as much. So I decided when I become a father, I'll do things slightly differently, if not all differently. So during the pandemic, of course, I have not had much time to do that. I've been working quite a bit. So now I need to come back to that. So this course has not just helped you, it's also helped me to remember that. Thank you, Dr. Cohen, for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can you please choose someone else? Unless someone else cepat-cepat put their hand up. So I'm giving you the opportunity to to help me choose someone else.
Miss Vinodini?
Well, who's that? Miss?
Vinodini? Vinodini.
Oh, Vinatini. Come, Dr. Vinatini. Silakan.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, so about what drive my goals,
Mhm.
basically I will probably put it in two ways. One is from my internal motivation that will come
Okay.
first, whether I'm passionate about pursuing that for a long term, or I decided to quit in between when I feel like I'm not longer passionate about doing that.
Okay.
And I think it also
Can I pause?
depends
Can I
on,
pause you for a second?
yeah, sure.
So related to what you said as an outcome for 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Does that still
Yeah.
count? Is your answer still valid?
Yeah, I think I gave two goals over there. One is about more on a professional, about how to, write on some publication papers and all that, and personal goals about traveling around the world or something. So yeah,
Okay.
related to that, so first is depend on it's mainly based on my internal motivations, right? That drives
Okay.
me to complete it. Along the line, I probably might not do it if ever I have some difficulty in terms of like resources. Of course, if you're traveling, you need money and all that. You need time, and depends on the situation of the current pandemic and all that thing. And come to the professional goals as well. It's depend on how much supports you're getting from your departments, how much supports you're getting from your colleagues and people around you. Also will makes you to feel like whether you're going to continue with your goals or other way around. So other thing that will probably drive me is of course the external motivation that um I think I can't deny that I can't just rely everything on my internal motivation. Sometimes external works very well, especially
Mhm.
about families, the place where you work, people around you. Like you say that we can't please everyone and not everybody gonna please us.
Yep.
So that also make us feel like down sometimes. And
True.
also that from doing this, beside getting my own personal satisfaction, am I going to contribute to other people as well? That also my concern. It's not just about writing like many papers, but in the end of the day, how about your contribution to the body of knowledge and all that? So all these things I'm taking into consideration as well when I'm placing my goals. And sometimes for myself personally, I'm not a person like always like to do one thing for a very long time. So I always like to make
Ah,
things various. So maybe today I say that I want to do this, maybe after 1 or 2 years I might change it, because this is what been happening throughout my career life and also my personal life. I don't really worry about future because nothing is promising, right? That's what this pandemic also show us. We have so much plans, but just in the split of second, everything just vanished, and we all just sitting inside the house 24/7 and just start talking to people in via online. We're rarely meeting people, so things might just change. We don't know what's gonna happen, so I don't want to worry about future and just focus about what we can do next year. I think that makes me keep going.
thank you very much for that. So in your case, I'll mention two things. Number one, for people like you might not need a very detailed plan, but you'll still have a high level strategy. So I'm also not a very detailed person, which is why I love to try new things. And that's why, as long as I fulfill my learning licensor phases, okay, then I'll try anything within. So it's still open ended. And if you don't like too much detail, you can keep it at that level. Okay, this year I want to achieve this. How I achieve is totally up to me. That's number one. Number two, a little bit related to your travel. This is not you know not part of the strategy, but I want to share with you something. I had a friend who's an entrepreneur, and he went to United States for holiday. He and his wife were in United States for holiday. But here's the best part: he did not have the money to be able to spend to go United States on holiday. What he did was he is a Lego fan. So if anybody is a Lego fan here, you know what I'm talking about. An adult fan of Lego. So he was in a network of Lego fans as well. The cheapest Lego on this planet is in the United States. It's not in China, not in Malaysia. And I'm not talking fake Lego, I'm talking real Lego toys. So what he did was he took orders from people who wanted Lego sets. And some of these people are super rich. They like buy 10 sets, 20 sets, 30 sets, stuff like that. So he went there on that money, bought. So what he did was he marked up, of course, with a margin, kan? Bought those Legos, put it into a container, shipped it back, and guess what? His whole trip with his wife was funded, fully funded, free. He got a free vacation out of it. That's one. And then a few years ago, when I was traveling to Cambodia, I discovered an app. There's an app, but now I cannot remember its name. The app is for people who travel. What happens is if you put in the app, okay, I'm traveling to Cambodia, don't put specific lah where you're going, nanti people can track you down. I'm going to Cambodia, I'll be in Phnom Penh from this date to this date. Only that information, right? And people can actually request that you buy certain things, okay? And while you're there, that can only be found in Phnom Penh. The problem is, of course, in Phnom Penh, everything is from China, so nobody but asked me to buy anything. But if you go to Japan, people can order through you. So the app is like Uber, and if you scam them, then you get blacklisted of the app. All it takes is just one. You get blacklisted, you get 1 star, stuff like that. So you might want to consider that if you can say, hey, I'm going to Japan. Siapa nak order apa-apa barang, collect for about 6 months, and then you go to Japan. Thank you, Dr. Vinatini.
No problem.
All right, please choose the next person.
I think Dr. Khairul Saida, I think she just joined us again, so maybe she has something to say.
Oh, okay. Do you have something to say?
I have volunteered just now. No worry.
Oh, all right.
No,
Okay.
she already shared.
As I
Mr.
said,
Nazrin,
Yes.
there's a reply from Dr. Wan Afika here.
Okay.
Her will is the most drive from me is one and only my little daughter.
Alhamdulillah.
Maybe if Dr. Wan can unmute her mic, maybe she can explain further. Share a story,
please.
maybe.
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello everyone. Okay.
So I'm not a doctor yet, inshallah.
I mean,
I mean, so as a single parent, I always look at myself as a role model to my daughter because this is not what I have in my plan 10 years back. So when Cik
yes,
Nazrin asked us about what is your plan in the next 10 years in the future, so I believe that I cannot say like this today without having the experience that I have 10 years back. So
yeah,
Alhamdulillah for that. That was the foundation, the biggest foundation for me to be able to achieve what I want in the future in Cik Nazrin. So
yes,
I think the only one, all right, that drive me to further continue my PhD and doing whatever that I'm doing right now is my little daughter. And of course, but from that, I have my mom and my dad. Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed with these three. And in terms of career, I believe like I agree with Dr. The previous doctors just
was
now.
it
I forgot the
Vinotini?
name. Dr.
Vinotini ka? Who said she doesn't focus too much on the future. She does what she wants. Is that the one?
I forgot.
Or is it Dr.
Dr.
Kohan who would talk about
Saida.
setting an example for his kids?
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And also in terms of career, I think I have been chosen by Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, you know, to introduce English language in
Ah,
Islamic study among Islamic study students. It was a big challenge for me for the past few years, but I believe it is the biggest challenge where I get to learn something from them and they get to learn something from me in written. And it's not merely based on the subject. I brought into other issues that we can relate to English language. At the end of the day, they say, "Oh, madam, we can relate English language to Islamic values, things like that." So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward. Thank you, Encik
thank you
Nazrin.
very much, so much. Okay, we have time for I think one or two more people only. So if you want to volunteer, please volunteer. Otherwise, Dr. Wafika will choose you. Guys, you expect your students to volunteer in class, right? So I'm not giving you anything new here.
Can I talk again? Sorry.
Wow.
I was
Okay,
thinking.
anybody who knows her, is she like this? Is this how she's like? Okay, go
Sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
You know that I've been teaching, I've been molding kids nowadays. Yeah, I ask the same question I ask them. You must have when you go to work because I've been working in practice and what sort. I said when you go to work, when the moment that you open your eyes, then you have to ask yourself what drives you to go to work. For example, so if when you go to work in future, telling my students now, yeah, in future, then you feel, oh, malasnya nak pergi kerja is something, very, because uh, uh, if you have been working, and I've gone through that phase also, the condition was not great. It's not good as a self being individual not to have something to go every day. So I will advise my student, if you have that feelings, when you go to work after maybe 5 years time, 10 years time, come back to me, I boost up your motivation. Yeah, because you need that will to open up your eyes, looking forward to go to work, to do what you want to do that day, yeah, today. If you don't have that, I say you are in a big trouble because you don't like your life that time. You really don't like life. So you have to come back to me and get some motivation. I'm going to boost up because that is your real life, not this studying theoretical thing. Is not your real life. Is that with family, with working, the working life, your colleague, the bosses, the staff, and what sort. So yeah. So the same question that I've been telling my students, and I want them to see the real life is like this. So get prepared. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Sorry. Talk a lot. Bye.
Thank you very much for that. I'm going to say to you guys, I envy you because you do this every single day, and sometimes you have your stress and heartache as well. I only taught 2 semesters in university, and I tell trainers, you guys, you think you're superstars, hot stuff when you do training outside for corporates, apa semua. You do training 2 days and then they leave you. These people see you for 14 weeks, and you, number one, you get to see them grow, and you get disappointed by them, and it's a totally different set of emotions, totally different set of things. But I loved it. I loved that my 100 students, I had 50 in a class. My 100 students, a lot of them are still with me on Facebook. Some of them are married, some of them have kids, and they tag me. um but I was like part-time lecturer, but the fact that they still wanted me to see certain things in their life makes me feel really, really good. So I envy you guys, because you might by now might have thousands of these students who remember you, but you might not remember them. Thank you for allowing me to come and talk to you. All right, one last person, please. Dr. Wafika, would you like to choose one last person? Dr. Wafika, are you still there?
Hi, can I share?
Yes, please. Okay, so you shall be the last person to share for today.
Yeah, I'm Hayati. Well, I came in,
Hello.
I was here earlier on, but I left, but I came in, but it was halfway through. So I'm not quite sure if I'm actually telling you the right thing. But
That's okay. Tell me what
it-
you understand of the question first.
yeah, okay. It's basically discussing what drives us to the goal. Okay. So the goal
Yes.
that we decided just now, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Basically, what I am today was because of the decision that I made 20 years ago. I left the consultant company because there's quite a few of ethics
Which
problems
one?
and
Which one was
uh,
that?
uh,
Which one
that
was
was
that?
that was
Huh?
in 2000
No, no,
something
no,
like
no. I'm asking which consulting company is this?
it's a construction construction.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Dealing with engineers, dealing with architects, dealing with all sorts of construction industries. Sometimes you tend to have ethics and things that you cannot
Oh.
agree. So those are the things that makes me change my mind to proceed, and also due to the time consuming, spending too much time in the office rather than at home, and also when you have your husband working as in like a company that 5 o'clock you can actually go out and come back while I
Jealous.
I'm still on site. So yeah, that's something that I need to change. That's why I moved into academician. And now that
Okay.
I'm here, my target is to build my profession and to hopefully to become a professor in 10 years time. And but then again, when it comes to this level, previously was okay. You work you work and to achieve your KPI, but to be at a higher level, you need to work extra hard. And
Yes.
it comes back to the problem that I had earlier on with managing my time with the children. I've got 5 children now.
Nice.
So again, that makes me like you have what do you call that? Whether I'm actually doing the right decision or not. Whether should I proceed or should I just stay back and and just be a simple person rather than to hope high and have to sacrifice the family, because I have to travel very early because I stay far away from the uni and come back
Mm-hmm.
home late. So but now that blessing disguise that when we're working at home, you have all the time. But
Alamak.
it's so tiring. Yeah, you have all the time with the family, but it's taxing. You have to do almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, how I'm not sure if I can achieve the goal, but the goal is basically for me to show and give a real life role model to my children as well, because I want them to do multitasking work. You don't only learn, you don't only do academics, but you also have to do other things so that you are able to cope with so many things that you will be dealing in future. So that's part of it. So it's just like a combination of whether the profession is number one or the family is number one. So I can't have both as the first priority. Yeah. So that's just my sharing.
Thank you very much. I believe that you have hit the nail on its head, in that when you give something, sorry, when you want something, you need to give something up. So in the case of yours, you you want to spend more time with the kids, and tada, pandemic. Pandemic gives you more time with the kids, but then you you have to do everything as well, right? So the idea is, how do you juggle this? How do you still keep to the goal? How do you keep to the outcome? So thank you very much, everyone. I would like to jump off your point, and what I'm doing is I'm going to share with you a slide from actually a different course that I do. And I did say that I love Silat. And what I have, hang on a sec. Let's see, is this the one? This is the one, yeah. So what I have for you is a slide from another course I run. Usually I run this for tourist guides. But what this is from a book. Now, believe it or not, hundreds of years ago, we didn't just use, warriors didn't just use keris and parang. We actually used guns. We actually had istingga. We had a lot of firepower as well. So this is a book called Peluru Petudang, which published by DBP. It's from an old two old manuscripts, and the manuscripts, believe it or not, were actually shooting manuals. they were SOPs of how to shoot a gun. But you know, Malays back then being what they were, even what they shared, how they created the SOP is philosophical and useful. So I'm going to read this out and explain it to you just to close off what we're talking about for strategic thinking. I'm reading out exactly as is, and I will translate into modern Malay. Okay, so my favorite phrase in this book says, dan tatkala engkau memegang bedil, what is a bedil? It is the gun itself, akan menembak, hendaklah engkau tilik alamat itu beri nyata-nyata. What does this mean? What is alamat? It's not address, bukan alamat rumah. Alamat is the target, is the outcome you're aiming for. The word nyata-nyata here, as explained in the book, is you see it so clearly in your mind's eye as if it was right there in front of you. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can touch it. That is how real it is. That's why some people, when they have dreams, because dreams are the brain's way of putting together information. When you have a dream and it feels so real, when you wake up, you can actually work towards that dream, right? So if you can convince yourself of the outcome becomes very, very real to you. Look at the next statement. Dan tidaklah dipandang pada alamat itu lagi. Now that you set in your brain, this is the outcome I want, forget the outcome. This sounds weird, I know, but forget the outcome. Because if you keep your eye on the outcome, you forget what you're doing now. And this is a problem for some people. They are so visionary, they don't focus on what they're doing on every single day. They don't focus on what they need to do to get there. And then when they fail, they go, alah, tak jadi. Memanglah tak jadi, you tak buat apa-apa. So, tidaklah dipandang pada alamat itu lagi, kerana tiadalah bedil itu mencari alamat. Ini bunyi magic sikit. Melainkan alamat mencari bedil. The target will look for the gun, not the other way around. Dan tak kala samalah pada mata zahir kita, maka tembakkanlah. Anybody who's actually joined Rotu or Watania or any sort of these palapes sort of outfits in university, if you go you go to the shooting range, your officers, your sergeant will actually teach you that when you aim the gun, right, when you actually put the gun to the target, then your eye, once you're set, stop focusing on the target and hold the gun there. Jangan gerak lagi dah. Now you need to squeeze the trigger, not press the trigger. When you press the trigger, the gun will move. You squeeze the trigger slowly. So your focus must now come towards the back of the gun, not the front of the gun. And what does this mean? It means now you need to start focusing on the activities that aim towards that outcome in the strategy. And when it is clear what you see in your mind's eye and what you see in front of you, go and take action. So ladies and gentlemen, doctors, professors, thank you very much for inviting me here today. I hope you got something that you can take home that's useful for you. I'd like to invite one or two people to share with me what are some of your takeaways, and maybe Umu, you can recommend some people to who you think would be good people to share what they got today. We have about a few minutes before we close. I apologize for that. My Shopee app just woke up.
Maybe we can have some volunteers first.
Okay, we can. But if it takes too long to volunteer, then maybe you can select a few people.
Right. Is Dr. Afiq here? No? Okay.
Yeah, can I talk as usual?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Some takeaway, I think you should know what you want in life. Can I say that? What you want in life, and strive, and continue doing it, and maybe you can perhaps revising it. If like I love the backup plan. If you don't layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3, although macam tak faham tapi bawa faham lah. Tapi yeah, I love that because I never think about it. But it's good. You know what you want, and you revise it, and if you need help, go find some help. Yeah, and I also love the question that Encik Nadzrin asked. Do you have BFF? Yeah, we need BFF to survive, to talk, to get some motivation, some ideas. But at the end of the day, you decide what you're going to do with your life. Can I say that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, a BFF is someone. There's two kinds of BFF. One person who is exactly like you and understands you so much that when you open your mouth a little bit, dia dah faham. There's another kind of BFF who's totally opposite to you. So I have found that both work well. My wife is the one totally opposite to me. Imran is the one exactly like me. So if you can have both, fantastic.
Yes.
Can I have one last person, please?
Can I volunteer?
Yes, please.
Okay. Two takeaways. I think as what Dr. Saida said also. One, you need a sounding board, BFF. That is very important to me because it's not just you alone. Because you have to have that interaction, and also the question that you have to ask yourself every day. Why are you waking up this morning? For what and for whom? That's the takeaway for this afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Nadzrin. Tak dengar, Cik Nadzrin. Your mic is mute.
So sorry about that. Okay. So thank you very much everyone for coming today. I appreciate your engagement. I appreciate your cooperation here today. I know you have a lot of work to get done, but here's what I'm going to offer you. I cannot type into the text chat, but Umu can. I'm going to leave you my phone number. So Umu, if you have my phone number standing by, I will be open to questions. You can WhatsApp me anything specific, something PNC you don't want to share here, but you want to share with me. I'm open to that, no worries, because my mission is to help people, and you won't be charged for it. Don't worry about that. And I had so much fun with you guys today. I'm definitely going to offer that to you. So if Umo's not writing it down or she doesn't have it immediately, I'm gonna verbally say it to you. My number is 016 3085 789. That's why I chose the number. So it's DG 016 3085 and the last three numbers 789. So thank you very much everyone. I'm going to hand this session back to Umo for close. Umo, all yours now.
Yes. Mr. Nazrin, just to confirm, the afternoon session will start at?
I believe you said 2 o'clock, so we start at 2 o'clock.
Maybe 2:30. Is that okay?
Can
Yeah, because it's today's Friday, right?
Yes, 2:30 to 5:30.
To 5 is fine. I mean, up to you. We'll start at 2:30.
2:30 to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. Will it be the same people?
They can invite their other colleagues and friends to join.
Okay. So
All right, okay.
we'll see you in the afternoon then. So we start at 2:30.
All right. Okay. So thank you everyone. So the session in the afternoon will be my staff will be in charge of it, Huzairi, because I have another meeting, but I'll be around to observe. Okay, so we do invite you to this afternoon session. I'll create another meeting room later. So yeah, thank you everyone. We will appreciate your feedback. We'll provide you the feedback form soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Bye.
lunch. Have a good salat.
Thank
Assalamualaikum.
you. Bye.
Waalaikumsalam. We'll
Bye
see you at
po.
2:30.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.